All right, we'll try this again. Sorry, everybody, if you were tuning into the live stream, I realized that for some reason my microphone wasn't working. So, in lieu of repeating myself, we'll just give a recap. Welcome to the Arete Podcast. As I was telling everybody when we got started here, that this conversation's been a long time coming. I was trying to make it happen for, I think, almost a year, actually. At least the idea was in my head, but then we were both busy at different times. But nothing happens by accident, because I realized as I was getting set up, the timing is appropriate because in less than a week, we will be celebrating America's 250th birthday. And the World Cup's going on. And that's a really good example of cultural integration. So much so they've made commercials, which I actually like. Have you seen them? Are they playing in Mexico where they're like, they talk about how like when I don't want to get it wrong, but basically it's like Moroccan dough mixed with like Spanish frying techniques, and Spain invented churros, and like I want to say people like salsa was invented when Cuban dance music was combined with like Dominican dance or whatever, something to that effect. I'm butchering it, I know, but I'm like, you know what? That's a good point. And that's kind of the theme of this episode is if you didn't guess by the thumbnail and the title, we're talking about basically how America's cultural permeation across arguably, at least to a certain extent, the entire world to some degree, and is that a force for good or bad? And what may surprise many of you, Alexander here, uh, I don't know, did you ever live in the United States, or have you always lived in Mexico?
I've always lived in Mexico
That's what I
City.
thought.
I've had extended stays in America like for a couple of months,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but never.
But you're as as certain members of the Supreme Court would say, you are domiciled in Mexico.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, spur of the moment. I know. I don't think it's better, but it's definitely not worse. Geriatric politicians notwithstanding. Yeah, Justin's actually been very excited for this conversation because anytime he watches us on Toon Talk, he's always like, "Man, Alexander, he'll say something, and then I like initially take issue with it, but then he goes deeper, and you're kind of like, yeah, okay, I get that."
Bro, you'd be surprised the conversations I've had with my Mexican friends, and I'm talking about the smart ones. They seem to have this opinion that I'm somehow brainwashed by by my opinions about America, and I just don't see that. I
Well,
just
I
don't
mean,
see it.
in their defense, the brainwashed don't see it. But here's the interesting thing. I don't think you're brainwashed. I think that you're a really insightful, thoughtful person who actually thinks about things before they say them. Because I've never heard you, even if it's something that I disagree with, which is few and far between. But even then, I can at least understand your thinking and how you got there. I may disagree with it, but I can understand how you got there. And
Yeah.
that's the mark of an intelligent person that thinks before he speaks, which is why I'm really excited about this. So,
I believe in healthy debate. I believe in conversation. I don't agree with just shutting up just because your
no.
opinions are not understood.
No, exactly. Sorry, Oracle makes valid points even when I may disagree. Yeah, exactly it. Which is funny. And you have a habit of, you'll say something, and I know better than to say anything in the moment because I'm like, okay, he's gonna go deeper into this, and then by the time you're done explaining it, it's like I said, it's like, oh, okay, I get what he's saying now. But one of your hottest takes, not to me but to people who have commented, is you basically make the case that particularly through media, being television shows, movies, comics, things like that, American morality uh, is an extremely positive influence on the world. Politically, there's a little bit more gray area there, but I'm one of those people that still maintains that in the grand scheme, I think the United States is a larger force for good than ill. Um, I I always like to say that it's worth noting, yes, the United States is the only country to use nuclear weapons against another country ever, but they did it and then they never did it again. And there was a period where they were the only ones that could do it.
There were decades that
Yeah.
you guys were the only capable nation of doing that, and you didn't. So that speaks about. I think what happened there was more a show of force than anything else. I mean, you didn't really want to devastate Japan. You just needed to make a statement to the world that you had this capability now, and that you should really listen when you talk.
Yeah, it's slightly more, and I only say this because I've read accounts of people that were working in the program at the time, and you're not wrong. There's a tiny bit more nuance to it. It was a show of force, but in the sense that like Japan was not going to surrender via conventional means.
Right,
I mean,
right.
they said so. I mean, they were training schoolgirls how to fight with bamboo spears.
They had to undermine the honor system. They had to subterfuge it
Well, they also
for in
had
order.
to they also had to
Sorry.
make it clear that you will not be able to fight your way out of this.
Yeah, yeah. There's no way you can come back at us with weapons.
Yeah, we don't need. They had to show we don't need to invade the mainland.
War
So,
changed. War changed at that point.
oh, 100%. Yeah. Well, even a lot of people don't know this, but even Japanese battle doctrine shifted in the Pacific Theater before the atomic bomb because their tactics were ineffective. They were
Yeah,
not working the way they had in the past. So
right. And
it
information
was a
couldn't go as easily to the layman. So if they were in the loop, they had to be like highly military clearance and stuff like that to know what was coming.
yeah,
So
100%.
that helped. But I mean, we can probably separate the politics from the message because they're obviously all tied in together. The politics of America and the messages that they send out to the world, they're all tied together. But I don't know, people just they hear the word politics and they just go into this emergency state where they think it's bad. Just they just jump right into that.
Well, and it's also it's not exclusively American, but I would say it's quintessentially American too. It's one of the few societies in which, because of the nature of how Americans view liberty, um, media and art tends to be at least partially anti-establishment, at least insofar as like, okay, you may have a case of someone who doesn't view the office of the presidency negative, but they may view the actions of the current presidential administration as bad.
Yeah. Um. So we can't forget that everything that I'm about to talk of, in regards of what American culture is, most of it, if not all of it, comes from the progressive liberal side of Americans.
Right, because
Like,
typically that's where the artistic creators are on the political spectrum.
right. I mean, that's part of your strength. I mean, the fact that there's so many different people in America living there with like so diverse ideas and worldviews and art and morality, all those things. But most of what is imported into the world comes from the left, from the leftists. They come from the Democrats and the liberals and the progressives, and I mean, they're very well connected to art and things like that.
Well, and
Not
not least of which
right.
I would oh no, you're good. You interject whenever you want. This podcast has no rules. But I would like it's sort of like a what do I want to say? It's part of the character of how most entertainers are. A joke Justin and I have is there are conservative comedians, but they're not funny because
I mean, they do what they. I mean, they are funny when they're offensive because telling the truth can be funny.
I mean I'll put it this way. Not to say that not to say that a comedian can't make a conservative joke, but I mean people like your Steven Crowder's. Like Steven Crowder's allegedly a comedian, but he's never made me laugh from his stand up. There are parts of his show that have made me laugh, but that's mostly referential humor. I've seen a couple of his stand-ups. They're hard to find. They're not funny.
Yeah, I rather listen to him talk about politics than hear
Which
him make jokes.
I think that's kind of, you know what? I take that back because it's not really a comedian, but I'm sorry. Ben Shapiro's cameo in Lady Ballers still makes me laugh. That was funny as hell. But it's because he's playing the straight man in that scene that's absolutely ridiculous. And I
Right.
love a good straight man in comedy.
Yeah, that's the movie that they made in the Daily Wire, right? The
Yeah,
comedy.
yeah. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it, but I know. I mean, I guess it's Not that bad. I mean,
We reviewed it on Average Intelligence, and I still stand by this. It gets like a C plus because technically it has no faults. It's not amazing, but it's not like it doesn't look like it was made by high schoolers. I got frustrated with it because they were so close. They were so close to making a genuinely good movie. There are elements of it that are genuinely funny, but you can tell this was not their first outing, but they hadn't done a lot. But I got really
yeah,
frustrated because they had a couple chances to have really good emotional story beats and they couldn't commit to the authenticity because they just felt like they had to go get to the next joke.
yeah, and that requires talent in
Hmm.
order to have that cadence in your art.
Well, because
You know.
there's a moment where the coach character, who is actually played by Jeremy Boring, who actually surprised me because he was genuinely funny and can do physical comedy a lot better than I thought he could. He's got a moment in his with his daughter because he's the coach of the team of guys who are claiming they're not actually transgender. They're faking it, and that's an important distinction because they are cheating and they know they're cheating. And
Right.
that's where the comedy comes from. Especially at the end when the other team of bigger guys is doing the same thing. They're like, "Hey, they can't do that." It's like, but that's the joke, right?
That's
But
the
he,
joke. Yeah.
but there's a moment he has with his daughter in the locker room, and she comes up and legitimately says, "Dad, I want to be a boy." And they could have stuck with their message and had a moment where I don't remember what the character's. I'm just going to call him Jeremy because I don't remember what the character's name was because frankly, it's unimportant.
Right.
They could have had a genuine moment where he sits her down and it still stays in their ideological camp, but what he does is he sits her down and says, "Sweetie, no." Because the thing of it is you're perfect exactly the way you are, which is the message they should be, from their point of view, that's the message they should be driving.
Yeah.
And there are parts of this movie that come off as, well, I mean, it's intentionally mean spirited, but I'd say a little bit, not so much like, yeah, we're kind of laughing at your expense, to the, it crosses the line of being kind of mean.
Yeah. I guess they wanted to make sure to, I mean, make the other side see what I'm talking about, like being blunt about it.
Yeah.
Like
Which
talking
is,
to the audience.
in their defense, this movie was not being made for general audiences, even though my critiques are as though it were being made for general audiences. And I understand they weren't making a movie to appeal to general audiences. They were making a movie to appeal to their, you know,
To their base.
to
Yeah.
their base. Yep.
Maybe even to convince some of the other people that don't think like them to think like them.
Some
I
of,
mean,
or at least point out the. They did a pretty good job of pointing out the absurdity that sort of debate can lead to. I think one of my favorite moments in that was the sports anchors get progressively more progressive to the point of lunacy. And the thing is, it's funny to say that's oh, that's ridiculous. It's not that far off. I mean, sure, people aren't coming out in full Native American headdress, but it's not that far away.
yeah, it's pointing out the that how things can get out of hand when you let the cheaters in.
Yeah,
You know,
100%.
that's the
Or
main
when
issue about
you
that conversation.
or when you tie ideology to attention.
Yeah, that which is something that happens a lot with young people.
Well,
They become
and that goes both ways. Like that's politically on the left and right. You're seeing it
right.
now on the right. You're seeing a lot of people on the right that have now realized, oh, attention equals money, and in this camp, I get views and likes by being extreme and saying extreme things.
Yeah,
And
it
some
goes
mean
back
it, some don't.
to it goes back to the basic human need to belong somewhere. You know,
100%. But going back to kind of America's cultural influence, I've heard this story, but share with the viewers, please, like
yeah.
your upbringing, because you were big into cartoons like GI Joe,
Yeah.
Silverhawks, Thundercats.
So a little bit of background info on me. So I was born in Mexico City. I'm 49. I've always lived in Mexico City. I'm Mexican through and through. My childhood was always bombarded by American culture. from music to movies, TV shows, books, anything you can think about, I consumed as a child from America. So I'm talking about Disney. I'm talking about cartoons like Thundercats, Silverhawks, GI Joe, Transformers, all those cartoons that you had in the 80s that you couldn't miss. You had to get home and watch them. We didn't have like streaming back then, right?
Oh, right, kids.
So
Yeah, TV is a thing that we used to have where, like, you have TVs, but network television, they had a schedule, which this
yeah,
program is on at 3 o'clock to 3:30, and if you miss it, you may never see it again.
you may never see it again, and they had commercial breaks, and you had to run to the bathroom and get back to when the show started, and so it grips you because it's so good. Um, so going from there, uh, from my child, so I had all the toys. I had all the Thundercat toys, all the Silverhawks, all the GI Joes, the Transformers. I had all the toys, and I played with them a lot with my brother. So that's how I spent my childhood. Now, advancing to when I was like entering teenage, like being like entering the teenage step phase of my life, I started reading comic books, like seriously. Because when I was a kid, I used to buy the random comic book from a store in Mexico. The name of the store is Sanborns. It's a very big chain store. It's like a restaurant with a store and chain, like a chain of stores. So I used to pick up a couple of random comics from there from when I was young. But then at about 13 or 14, I started buying comic books. One of the first comic books I bought was Man of Steel 18,
Ooh.
which is coincidentally the first appearance of Doomsday. So I got into the whole Death of Superman comic books and reading them in order. And I was so, I want to say, impressed by the way comic books are written. They're so smart, they're so thorough, the art is beautiful. I mean, it's such a difficult industry to break into because it's so high quality. And comic books are like the perennial example of what America exports to the world. Comic books. Everybody knows who Spider-Man is. Everybody knows who Superman and Batman are. We all love them. We all want to be like them. And most importantly, we all learned life lessons from reading them. And that's an American thing. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, I think I know why. Nowadays, people tend to take this anti-America stance on anything. So if I come up to someone in Mexico, or like let's say another country, but let's take Mexico as an example because we're your closest neighbors. I mean,
One
Canada
of,
obviously
yeah.
is the closest one, but Canada and America are very similar.
That's
You
yeah,
know,
that's true.
you meet a Canadian, you don't even know he's Canadian. You might very well think he's American, and the other way around,
Yeah.
because you guys are so connected on the cultural aspect. Mexico is not. Mexico and America are so different in the way we.
Mexico is not.
Yeah, Mexico is not at all like America. But I mean, having said that, we've been heavily influenced by American culture and politics and economics and all that. But that's because it's a good thing, you know. I think that when people try to be edgy about it and they try to like badmouth America, no, they're oppressive and they're imperialistic and they want to take over the world. They don't see that sometimes when you're the good guy, you have to do something bad because you
Well,
have to do it.
and not only that, the like yes, there was a period before somebody in the comments said, well, actually, like yes, there was a period where the United States was like, yeah, we kind of want to get into empire building. They were way behind in that regard compared to the European powers. And I think if you look at it on the whole, uh, we've never really. I mean, yeah, Hawaii. I'll give you Hawaii. That probably could have gone differently, but and this may be controversial, and if this offends people from Hawaii, I'm sorry, but was I culturally maybe, but it's worth noting that Hawaiian culture is nowadays celebrated people are
Of course, Americans
actively.
love Hawaiian culture. They love the hula hula and the aloha, and they love it. And they remember Fantasy Island.
Yeah, well,
You remember the show?
and what I'm getting at is yes, there was a period where I would say not just the United States, but even I would say like the West in general was kind of how would you say it? They were more of a fan of steamrolling their culture onto other people. Those days are gone, like, and they've been gone for a while. But there's still this perception, and I guess my controversial hot take would be: is Hawaii worse now than it would have been had it not become part of the United States?
I guess that's easy to measure because, to my eyes, they're doing great.
Yeah, I mean
I'm,
that's the point I'm making, and you know, is that controversial? Yes, but again, if you're gonna play counterfactuals, I you can look at some other nations that are not necessarily nations, but like small island nations that didn't become part of a larger
yeah,
nation. Um,
and they're not doing that great.
they're not doing so hot, you know?
Yeah, because you need. So Mexico is a real. It's really a magical place, man. I mean, things that happen in Mexico could never happen anywhere else just because of the way we are. It's like we don't care about anything. Everything is a joke. But that lets us overcome obstacles that some other people might not be able to. You know, like we're able to live off of $5 a day in Mexico City. That's
Really?
that's the that's result. Yeah, like a lot of people. So the economic situation in Mexico is really strange because the rich are very rich and the poor are very poor,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone that's caught in between, like me, um, you can make a good living with just spending a little money. I
Yeah.
mean, you can find a way to like amalgamate both. Like I'm never gonna have the lifestyle that the rich people in Mexico have because they're like private planes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that happens here, but a lot of the way we a lot of how Mexico thinks about the world definitely comes from America. And I'm not only talking about art as in the form of entertainment, like mindless entertainment. I'm talking about how when you watch a movie, you 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 finish watching the movie and you're a better person after that. You get a moral lesson and you change the way you think about, I don't know, like let's take a classic trope, like the bully in school.
Yeah.
Like those American movies, the American high school movies, I love them. I just absolutely love all those American, like where the kids go to high school and they have this life, that they get into adventures and they go to parties and stuff like that. So at the end of the movie, you get the moral lesson that you shouldn't be mean to people that are different. You shouldn't take a stance of power against weak people because weak people exist,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't wanna run over them. You don't wanna make them feel bad. That's in a lot of American media.
Well,
That's
and
a
it's
message
yeah.
permeated in America.
Yeah, yeah, and it's also it's worth. I wanted to mention this, and before I forget, you mentioned like a lot of people know superheroes all over the world. One that really surprises me is how much Captain America is liked internationally as a character.
Dude, even if people don't want to accept it, we love America. We love the flag. We love the soldiers. We love the infrastructure of the country. We love the language. We love the smarts. We love the intelligence that Americans have.
I also don't know
Because
too many people that say no when, you know, either whether it be the U.S. military or some aid organization coming and bringing food or vaccines or treatment
oh, that,
or
that that's such an unrecognized activities that America has overtaken for years, for decades. The way that you want to fix the world, because you realize that you're super rich. Every American knows that America is super rich,
well,
and the
not
fact that
not every American.
not every American,
There well
this guy,
there's a lot of Americans that don't know what poverty is because they've never seen it because they've always been here.
effects. I mean, I've always said it, and God bless you. It's the effects of a sheltered life.
Hmm.
Uh, Once you get to be the richest country in the world, and everybody looks up to you, because we do. I mean, let's forget about the the fake news that come out where where America wants to take over the world and they want to kill everybody. No, they don't.
Well, and
The,
I will point to you a real world example. So, a few months ago, the United States, I'm going to hyperbolically say, kidnapped a world leader.
yeah,
And then a bunch of countries were like, you can't do that. We're going to sanction you. And we basically said, we took their papers and we said, we're going to wipe our ass with this because who's going to enforce it? Now,
yeah,
prospectively, that's how a lot of people view America. But let's point out that happened, and Cuba still has a dictator. A lot
yeah.
of world leaders around the world are still there. Now, just full transparency, I'm glad Maduro's in jail. I don't know that that was necessarily the best way to go about it, but at the same time, when you have an oppressive regime that answers to no one, there's kind of no other way to do it because it's not like the people in the streets of Venezuela have a means to rise up against their government.
They don't. They would probably just get massacred if they even tried it.
Yeah, I was going to
You
say
need
that's and that,
other to take care of it.
well that's something I said to certain people that were like, well, they shouldn't have done that. The people of Venezuela need to rise up. I'm like, yeah, they did that. A lot of them were shot.
I mean, it was bold for sure. It was maybe unprecedented, but um, Maduro had plenty of chances to talk to the Americans. He had plenty of chances to make a deal with them, and he didn't want to. I mean, I don't know exactly who advised Maduro on his public appearances that he had to like sing a song and like do this little cringy, stupid act like come and get me.
And
Well,
then
they did.
the next day come out and say no war, no war.
Yeah, no war, no war. And then the day before they got him, he made a video talking about how Venezuelan oil is open for business with
Yeah,
America. Like,
yeah.
oh, we can do it whenever you want. Yeah, but you had a chance, dude. You had like so many. Marco Rubio said it. He said it. He said it in public. He said we tried to talk to this guy. We tried to make a deal, and he just wouldn't budge. I mean, he started singing a song. I mean,
Yeah.
what are we expected to do? Like just like play along with the stupidity? No, there's no way. I agree that it was a very bold move, and I know it looks bad, and I know it's bad precedent because let's
Well,
say Russia wants to try it, let's say China wants to try it, let's say North Korea wants, and then the shit hits the fan, and every country is doing like any act of violence that they want to do.
and
That's
that's
not a good.
that's that's basically what I was getting at is it's like it does set a bad precedent. However, it's also worth pointing out it's not like this guy was legitimately democratically elected.
He's a very controversial. Yeah, he inherited power in Venezuela. It's not like he won any elections or like people love him.
Not
He got it because
legitimately.
he was
Yeah.
a man. It's like the old kingship line of inheritance. You know, it's like you got it because I said so, and the country was suffering. I can tell you that living in Mexico in the past decade, we've had a lot of Venezuelans come to Mexico, like
Hmm.
a lot of them, like hundreds of thousands, and they come to Mexico to look for jobs, and they because Mexico is a strong economy in Latin America. It's like the second largest. I
I
think
think
we're
so.
only
Yeah.
second. We may very well. I mean, I know there's a lot of money in Mexico, but unfortunately, our politicians are really, really greedy about it. So they don't know when to stop. Because there's corruption everywhere, man. I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to say this about America. Of course, it's naive not to think that at the highest levels of government and industry, there's no corruption going on. Of course there is, but the difference between America and Mexico is that when a politician gets a lot of money in his hands, like an American one, he's gonna do the job. He's gonna do the work. He's gonna build the bridge. He's gonna build the hospitals and the roads and the schools, and he's gonna maintain the police force to keep order. They're doing all those things, and then they keep the rest, and then they get like perks, and like they contract like their friends, and that is corruption, okay? But the country is great. It's a great country. It's a beautiful country, and it's a strong country. In Mexico, if they get 100 pesos and they take 99 of those, and then they use the leftover peso to give people whatever a peso can buy.
Yeah, it's
And
it's
that happens, like,
corruption. At least in the United States, it's corruption with benefits.
it's smart corruption. Mexico is like dumb corruption. It's like we don't care if the bridge falls down. We can play dumb. We can say, well, I didn't build it. It
Yeah,
happened.
yeah,
Like the metro line, it collapsed in Mexico like a few years ago.
yeah. And Justin,
And
I do just want to say, don't worry, I'm not ignoring your comments. We will talk about all those things tomorrow, I'm sure. So I'm not ignoring you. Because he's making fun of President Trump a lot.
listen, I'm sick and tired of having the same conversation with people where if I don't berate Trump, if I don't like go off the handle and like fly off and like be like, I hate that guy, they automatically label me as a Trump lover. Oh,
Oh,
you love Trump,
believe me, I understand how that feels.
dude. You don't have to hate somebody. It's not that polarizing. You don't have to be like, I want them to die. Like, I'm gonna say this about Biden. I didn't like when he wanted to enforce the COVID passport. I didn't like that at all, because we know that everything that America does, we all follow the same steps. So if he were to enforce the COVID passports, we would have had it in Mexico as well, in some shape or form.
Well,
So
and
that
you're
was
you're much more likely, if I understand the law, because something like a COVID passport is unconstitutional. So, and
I
that's
mean,
another that's one thing that does kind of irk me about most Americans is they don't understand how their own government works. Because today the Supreme Court ruled on the birthright citizenship executive order.
yeah,
The moment, actually, before that, because if people, I know the average American has the memory of a housefly, culturally speaking. If you guys remember during the 2024 primary, Vivek Ramaswamy was saying all this same shit about jurisdiction and how it is part of the 14th Amendment and how it's interpreted. And I said then that was stupid. And then Trump does the executive order with the same language. And I'm like, it doesn't matter because, okay, there's two parts of this why it was never going to happen. One, the president can't reinterpret the Constitution via executive order. He doesn't have the
yeah,
power to do that.
yeah.
So, but that aside,
He can't overrule the Supreme Court, like the judicial power. Like that's
no,
why
well, he
there's
can't, he can't interpret law either.
right.
So he does
Right.
the executive branch
He can't
cannot do
do
that.
the executive functions of his branch.
Yeah, he literally. So even if you agree with his decision, it was never going to fly because that's not a power the president
Has no
has.
authority. I mean, it obviously sets the wheels in motion when he does it, and he has to do it because
That's why he did it. He was hoping the Supreme Court would side with him. However,
right.
there's over 100 years of of Supreme Court case precedent, so it was never going to happen.
And let's just clarify: when we say Trump, we're talking about a whole team of people that work with him. We're not. He's not like he wakes up in the morning. He's like, "I'm gonna overrule the birthright citizenship." It's a whole team of people. It's a whole movement. It's a whole party. It's a whole. It's a half of America that
Yeah.
wants this. But on this subject, like I equate it to like the transgender bathroom thing. So if you have a man that he feels he's a woman and he dresses up as a woman and he wants to live his life as a woman, that's no problem to anybody. That doesn't have to be a problem to him. The problem, and he wants to use the girls' bathroom, right? He wants to use the woman's bathroom because he identifies as a woman and he doesn't want to go into the men's bathroom where he's gonna get maybe assaulted or at the least look bad on. But what about the cheaters? What
Yeah.
about the people that want to cheat about that? They're like, well, I'm a girl, and they're just like depraved, and they want to do this. The birthright citizenship has the same issue. Like, there's a reason it exists. Obviously, if you're born in America, like, because how do you determine citizenship if it's not a paper? So one of the ideas is if you're born on the land, you belong to the land, and that's like the reason why you have birthright citizenship. But how about all those people that just go there to have anchor babies, and then they, because they have a son that's American, it's easier for them to become American, because that's the culprit. Okay,
Yeah, it is.
the
It is.
culprit of it all is that everybody wants to live in America. Everybody wants to live there, including me. Everybody wants to live in the nicest, richest, most beautiful country in the world, because it is. Like, I mean, Europe is amazing. Europe is beautiful. Japan is out of this world. But America has this extra. It is American exceptionality. It is, because exceptional doesn't mean that you have to put someone down in order for you to be exceptional. It just means that you're different from the rest. And America is in so many aspects, including the mercy that Americans show, the morals that because if you take a look at people that are like people that are against ICE,
Yeah.
right, and they go out and demonstrate against ICE, and they have very strong opinions about what ICE is doing, they all come from their morality. They
Hmm.
all come from their compassion. All of those ideas come from those. I don't mean to agree with everybody. I don't want to be like I agree with everybody, because I do have my opinions on things, but I understand why they're
Yeah.
doing it,
Yeah.
and they
I
have to
get it.
realize that that's an American value. What they're
That
fighting for.
that institutionally and historically, it's one of the things I love about this country is, the idea of, like, I disagree fundamentally with what you're saying, but I will fight to the death for your right to say it.
For your right to say it. And that's what I loved about Charlie Kirk. I don't know if people are gonna get all upset about what I just said, but the guy was really polite.
He was a good
He
faith actor who may have had some,
always he always lets you say what he always let you say what you think,
but he
even if
didn't
it's to put it
he
down.
he didn't get away with you making bad arguments either.
Um, to me, the only real I don't know how people are gonna react, but the fact that he was ultra religious, to me, was like a bump in his way, in his the road he was walking, because being ultra religious, like a lot of people are not religious.
Hmm.
A lot of people are not religious, but the majority of the world is.
In some
The vast
capacity, yeah.
majority, yeah, no, like the vast, like out of the 8 billion people in the world, like 6 billion are religious in some way or another. And then the other billion, they're not. I mean, they don't believe in God. They don't believe in like the morality of the Bible,
Hmm.
where you have to follow like these strict rules about how to behave, and then you have to give me like 10% of your money every month, or like whatever. Like being ultra religious to the point of wanting to make people behave like you. I think that's a problem,
It is, yeah,
because
it is, it is. I do think that for the most part, though, Charlie Kirk's probably a really good example of this. He was very religious.
very.
I don't know that he would have ever. In fact, I think he said on more than one occasion where he would not support, say, like an enforced theocratic society, for example. He
Of
would
course.
he would probably say something effective. I wish with all my heart that everyone would become Christian of their own free will, of their own volition. But
Yeah.
and I share that view from any religious standpoint. I feel like if it's enforced upon you, then it means nothing.
You know, I mean, some people aren't capable of. It's a touchy subject. I mean, obviously, intelligence is a spectrum, and
Yeah,
intelligence
it
is what
is.
gives. It's intelligence is what gives you your ability to discern between good and bad, more so than a book or just a bunch of lines written on a paper. It's your own intelligence that lets you discern between what they're telling me to do is good or bad.
Hmm.
So, for example, when I read Superman 75, which is the death of Superman, I remember very distinctly reading the comic book and thinking about how Superman had a lot of chances to just step out of the battle.
Hmm.
He had like a couple of respites where he could just like go away and hide and let the Justice League take over or like find another way later. But he knew he couldn't do that. He knew that if he went away, Doomsday was gonna just kill everybody because Doomsday, he said it.
Yeah.
So this this strength, I mean, Superman is one of the smartest heroes in paper, right? He's like second to Lex Luthor or Batman, but he's really smart. So this lets him decide his course of action. This is what this intelligence is what lets him be so good because he's really good. He's never bad, although he's done bad things in the past. Like you remember, like when like killing his enemies, like killing General Zod
Yeah.
because he didn't see another way out because he analyzed the situation. He couldn't find a way out, and he had to do a bad thing.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean he's a bad person. He's actually the best person.
Because look at
And that
look at what the alternative would be, and it's funny. It's funny you mention that because I can tie this back into because it's a movie that I absolutely found. Have you ever seen the movie Silence?
silence.
Martin
I
Scorsese.
don't.
It's weird. It got really overlooked in the cultural zeitgeist. And
Okay.
it's a Martin Scorsese film. It's got Andrew Garfield, Adam Driver. I mean, Liam Neeson. It's a stacked cast,
It's
and
incredible that I. Look,
a lot of people don't. And I found it by accident. So it tells the story, and it basically asks the question. And I love this. It completely changed my viewpoint on Christianity. Completely just warped it, and it basically asks the question like there's this sort of presupposition in Christianity that martyrdom is about you. Like you die for your faith. Silence puts you in a very uncomfortable position of like, okay, to give you the condensed version, it follows two Catholic priests in the late 1500s or early 1600s. They're Portuguese. They get word that the priest that basically mentored them was on a mission to Japan, and they heard that he apostatized. So they go to Japan to investigate. Now, those who don't know the history, Japanese Christians were insanely persecuted. We're not talking like oh Christians can't live here. No, executions, torture,
right.
and it was
Well,
bad. Yeah,
yeah.
it was very bad. So these two Catholic priests go to Japan, and basically the long story short is they get put into a position where the Japanese authorities can't get them to apostatize by threatening their lives because these guys are like one of them even has like hallucinations of martyrdom. Like he's ready to go. He's ready to
Hmm.
lay his life down for his faith. But then they flip it and they say, "Oh no, we're not going to kill you. We're going to we're going to kill them unless you apostatize."
Yeah,
And
we're not gonna follow your plan of dying for your ideas. Yeah.
and
That
then
happens when the real world hits you.
well, but not only that because it's like I'd never thought about it like that before, and it's such a good movie because it makes you think, and not everybody comes to the same opinion. And it's not treated as though there's a right or wrong answer. It's just differing perspectives. Now, the conclusion I came to, spoiler alert, is I think I won't tell you who, one of the priests does end up apostatizing, renouncing his faith publicly. And I said that's the most Christ-like thing I could think of, ethically speaking.
Yeah, it's good writing. I can tell you that.
It's such a good movie. And Andrew, I mean everybody does great, but Andrew Garfield hits it out of the park.
He's awesome. He's an awesome. Did you watch Click Click Boom?
I
Is
haven't
that the
seen
name
it
of?
yet. I've heard it's incredible.
Dude, it's amazing.
I've heard it's
That
amazing.
guy.
If
So good.
If Andrew Garfield's in it, I'll be a fan because his first Amazing Spider-Man. We don't talk about the second one. It has issues, none of which is Andrew Garfield.
The
That's
Goblin.
oh god, I just can't. That movie had
Yeah,
that
like
movie
the
had
Halloween,
issues.
the Green Goblin, like with the fangs.
Yeah, but Andrew Garfield's first Amazing Spider-Man movie is my favorite Spider-Man movie ever.
He's so good. I
He's
mean, you need an actor of that caliber to relay that kind of message.
well, but
You need him
tell
to.
yeah, tell me. I love the scene where it's a comedic scene, but there's a moment that's like super. Well, there's two. Explain to me how this guy can act through a mask with
Right.
no facial. You can't even see his eyes, and yet
Yeah.
with a simple tilt of
With
the
both.
head
Right.
or the speed at which he looks up and the
Yeah.
angle of it tells you everything you need to know with zero dialogue.
Yeah. That's incredible. That's talent.
And
That's American
people. Well, he's British, but
but where did he go to? Right. I agree with that. The whole world has talent. You can find talent anywhere in the world, and you can find good aspects of people anywhere in the world. Where do they go to make it?
that's valid because I can think off the top of my head. There's so many actors from Europe and specifically England that like Patrick Stewart made it big in America.
Bro, you have to go there just because you have to make use of the infrastructure that America has built for decades.
Well, Sir Ian McKellen, and I love Ian McKellen. I would wager to say most Americans first saw him as Magneto.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Magneto was the first because that came out before the Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
I can agree that. But I remember the first time I became familiar with Ian McKellen was in a movie called Apt Pupil.
That's such a good movie. Oh my god.
It's an amazing movie, dude. It's so good with Brad Renfro. He was great. Rest in peace. Yeah,
I mean,
but I
just
mean,
Ian McKellen's so good. Like
telling a
explain.
story like that, like
Yeah.
telling a story like the one in Apt Pupil where the kid finds out that the sweet old man was actually a Nazi agent.
Hmm.
That's that's a story better suited to be told from an American perspective
It is. Yeah, it
because
is.
the relationship that America had with World War II is exclusive to America. No
Well,
other country has the same kind of relationship they had with the war
yeah,
as America
was
did.
it was different. I was gonna say I think you could certainly make the case that England or France, but it's a different relationship.
Yeah, it is because America, if you remember, they didn't want to get involved and they had to because they had Pearl
Exactly.
Harbor.
Yeah.
And even though they won the war, because the truth of the matter is that the Russians won the war.
Well,
It was the Soviet Union. It was the Russians that came into Berlin to capture Hitler. I mean, that's
yes,
just a fact.
yes. However, I'm gonna. I've never met the
It couldn't
guy.
have been done without, it couldn't have been done obviously without D-Day and in the American intervention, of
Oh,
course.
that's
It
not
would
even what I'm going for. I've never met the guy. I hope to one day because he seems really funny. But Fat Electrician on YouTube, heart out to you. It is worth noting the only reason the Soviet Union was able to fight Germany was the cash, munitions, and vehicles
yes,
sent to them
yes.
by the United States.
Oh, America, they became a juggernaut during the war. Like factories were on all day long, and you had like shortages of steel. You know, you had people
Yeah.
scrapping up steel and taking it to the factories to make weapons and aircraft and all that stuff. Of course, America. I mean, World War II made America what it is
It
today.
is, yeah, but well, it also helps when you're the only superpower that didn't fight on its own land, so your infrastructure is all
There's gonna
intact.
be a fat chance that that happens. Yeah, you don't carry the same risk, you know.
Exactly.
So the relationship that America had against the Nazis, I mean, they become the perennial enemy of the people. We
Hmm.
all know that. It correlates to being evil. You're a Nazi. You're
Well,
evil, even to
not only that, even like look, any Star Wars is a good example. The uniforms of the what would you call it? The officers of the Imperial Navy, dude, it's
right.
Nazi coded, high boots, gray uniforms. Like
Of course.
it's
I mean,
color coded.
they were awfully efficient, the Germans. They've always been,
Never
you
let it
know.
be said they weren't efficient.
Oh no, they're monsters, man. I mean, the fact that they just lost in the world in the soccer World Cup is really a tragedy
It's
in
well,
Germany.
God. This is so morbid, but I've always said it would be a morbidly hilarious moment if the World Cup final came down between Germany and Israel.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah,
you'd
yeah.
have Germany being like, "Should we just give up? I feel like we should just give up.
Yeah.
Like,
What are we supposed to do
what are we
now?
supposed to do?"
Yeah,
Because
especially because
obviously,
people nowadays, I mean, especially Americans. I mean, God bless them, dude. They live such a sheltered life. That's a product of technology and and the same compassion that they say they're fighting, because all the people that they want to fight Trump, they're like, he's an animal, dude. America is a compassionate country. It is.
it could be
It's always
so
been,
much
even to their
worse.
own people, dude. You guys have a welfare system that no one in the world has, where if you're American and you want to work, you'll find work.
Yeah, you will.
They
A
won't
lot
let
of
you
a lot
start.
of people a lot of people disagree with you, and I to that I
I
will
know.
say you may not find the job you want, but
Oh yeah, well,
you will find
why not?
a job.
I mean, dude, move move to Mexico for a couple of years and try to make a living here, and you'll see what the real world is. And not only Mexico, like anywhere else in the world that's not Europe or Japan or Australia. Like go to any place in Africa, man. It's gonna be hell for you. It's gonna be hell for you to make a dime. It's gonna be hell for you to keep a dime.
Well, it
There's
is.
no place like America in the world.
Yeah,
There's
I
no
do.
place like what you guys have. So yeah, the argument that I've heard from my Mexican friends, and I repeat myself, these are the smart people that I talk to in Mexico. There's not many of those, but when I bring up the subject of how everybody in the world wants to live in America, they come back with, well, they want to take advantage of what America has stolen from other countries. So they have the idea that you're so rich because you've taken from other countries, and that's why they want to go there, because they want to partake in the separations of the spoils of war. But they're wrong about that. They're wrong
They are.
because they're they're making that argument out of the tenet that America is evil. They took everything from people, but that's not true at all. If you guys
Certainly,
wanted to do that, you the whole world would be speaking English right now.
yeah, and certainly no more to the degree of basically any other.
Superpower in the world, in the
Yeah,
history of the
no.
world.
Yeah.
And integration is inevitable. Integrating, if you're a weak culture, and when I say a weak culture, I mean you don't even know how to fucking draw water from the well. If you're a group of people and you don't know how to build a building, you don't know how to draw water from a well, you don't know how to set up a sewage system that keeps you healthy and keeps your citizens free of disease. If you're not capable of doing that, but the big kingdom that lives above you is, then you have to inevitably integrate into that. I mean, if you don't, you're not gonna make it,
No.
especially with the kind of technology that's coming out in our time.
Well, but
Like I'm
in
talking.
the in the ancient world, let's look at Rome. Rome had
Yeah,
roads.
great example.
It,
They had roads.
it's not as
They could
simple as
traverse their
that.
land easier and faster than other cultures could. They could get their goods from point A to point B without all the hassle that all the other cultures did have,
Hmm.
which was having no roads and having to, like, the horse died, the horse broke its hoof on the freaking road, on the freaking,
Yep.
you know. So if you don't have that, you're by definition gonna be um, underdeveloped.
Well, and before people accuse me of being ethnocentric, which I'd hardly call Rome me being ethnocentric, but let's also point out that the Mongols had the first high speed. They had the Pony Express way before the Pony Express existed. The speed at which, for the ancient world, the speed at which, and let's remember how big the Mongol Empire was. It's
Huge.
huge. The speed at which you could get word across that empire was astonishing for the day. You're talking about a single rider, because the way they're, I wouldn't even call it their postal system, but I mean, for lack of a better term, their messaging
The
system.
communication devices,
Yeah,
let's
well,
say.
I mean, you had checkpoints where the rider would literally get off the horse, get another one, and keep going.
Right.
To us now, that's a no-brainer, but then that was
Oh,
genius
and it was so necessary. If
for
you didn't
them. Oh
have
yeah,
that, you're as good as dead.
yeah,
If
yeah.
you couldn't get word from one point to the other, you're as good as dead.
Well, what good
So
is an
you
empire that can't?
right. That's also like excluded from itself. But let's take it to nowadays, okay? All the cutting edge technology that comes to the world it comes from America. Even if you wanna make the point that the best hackers in the world are Russian and the smartest people in
Where
the world are
where they learn?
Asians, dude, they're all integrated into that's the beauty of America. It's a melting pot, which takes me to my next point. One of my favorite pieces of American culture, and when I say favorite, I'm talking about how it shaped my ideas, it shaped my life, it shaped my joy of life. It's Star Trek. Okay? So just when I learned when I really got into it, and I real because I started watching Star Trek. I mean, I obviously knew who the original crew was because of the movies and all of that. I never watched the series when I was a kid because it was like all TV. But I started getting into it with the Next Generation.
Yeah.
I remember watching the first episode of Star Trek The Next Generation in 1987. I was 10 years old. It's called Encounter at Farpoint. And I was so blown away by the fact that Star Trek is about different people, different beings, not only human beings, different beings coming together for the sole purpose of harmony and progress. And they did it. So in the original crew, you had the American guy, like the American cowboy,
Oh,
the all
Riker.
American, the winner. Like let's say about the first generation, like the original series. You had Captain Kirk as the
The
all American
cowboy.
guy.
Yeah, the all-American
How
cowboy.
he can't lose. He breaks the rules. He's so charming and charismatic. You just root for the guy, okay? You have the Asian character of Zulu, which is amazing because he drove the ship, and they were all more than friends. They were more than colleagues and workers.
Well,
They were a family.
and more than anything, nobody was looked at, which is funny because in some ways we seem to have regressed in this. Like, Captain Kirk doesn't look at Sulu and say, "Oh, he's an Asian guy."
I'm helping the Chinese guy. No,
It's my
he's his
navigator
brother.
because he's the best navigator in the fleet.
Of course. And whenever he gives Zulu an
Helmsman.
order,
I'm sorry. People are gonna. Sulu's a helmsman,
helmsman.
not a navigator. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we don't mean to demote anybody.
Sorry. He's the best helmsman in the fleet because somebody was gonna actually me.
And if he ever has to be blunt about his orders, they're coming from a captain to a helmsman. They know how to separate their private lives from their profession because their lives are at stake, and not only their lives but the lives of everybody on Earth, because they act like, as explorers and diplomatic envoys and things like that. So the whole planet rests in their hands, and they act. That shows you how a lot of different people can come together and be a family.
Mm-hmm.
And they covered all bases. They had the black girl, they had the Asian guy, they had the Russian, which at the time was the enemy,
Well,
because we're talking about.
and let's also remember, you're a little over 20 years removed from the end of World War II, and Sulu is Japanese American, and the Vietnam War is actively going on.
Of course, they took the enemy and made him a friend. That's another American virtue that you guys have. Instead of killing you, let's be friends. Let's turn over a new leaf. Let's integrate our cultures. Let's be better with each other. No, I
Let's
don't
get rid
think
of the
we need
bad
to be.
stuff.
I mean, but if you take a lot of cultures together and you put them in the melting pot, all the cream's gonna rise and all the glocks gonna sink. So if everybody starts acting the same at the top, it's because all the good aspects of it came to light.
Yeah.
So that's maybe why they all talk the same and they all act the same without forsaking their own individual
Well,
rituals.
right, and let's
Or
let's let's remember too, like pointing out the original series, Uhura's character is very much in touch with her cultural roots because
yeah,
it is hinted at she's at least of some sort of African ancestry. She speaks Swahili in the
yes,
series. So
yes.
she's very much in touch with that. Let's not even get started on Spock being in touch with his cultural
That's
like
the magic touch, dude. Because I've always believed that American media is of very high quality, and they have like this. They have it all planned out with like the the sketches and the storyboards and the concept art and all that. But at the end, they add this magic touch to things that it's impossible to replicate. You have this like I'm talking about right now about Magic the Gathering. You know the card game.
oh yeah.
I'm a bit Magic the Gathering play. It has this magic touch in it that makes it like the best game in the world. It has like this psychological aspect to it, much like poker does,
Hmm.
but it's complicated. That's an American thing. That's when they added the character of Spock to the series. They took this magic thing out of thin air, like an alien, dude, and they made him a part of the family. Like this doesn't exist on Earth. He's not a Russian or a Scotsman, right? Or an American. He's an alien. And the same thing happened in the next generation when they did it with Worf.
Yeah.
They brought the deadliest enemies of the Federation in the last generation, the deadliest enemies that they had, and they integrated them to the Federation. So,
Well, at least the character, because I was going to point out, Worf is also very much in touch with his culture, and he's not even technically, at least not initially, he becomes a citizen of the Klingon Empire, but initially he's not because he was orphaned and his adopted
he
parents
was
were
raised
on
by
Earth.
Earth.
Yeah.
He was raised by humans.
Yep.
That's another thing about Superman. If you think about the character, the Superman character, he's an alien from another planet, but all his moral values came from Americans. He was raised by two farmers in Kansas.
Yeah.
They taught him to use his powers for good. That's what they taught him.
Yeah.
He didn't come up with it from. I mean, he probably would have because he's such a nice guy.
Well, maybe not a fun. Well, not a fun, but a. I've got two.
Maybe,
I've got two examples. You've
yeah.
got
The Red
Superman.
Sun.
Well, not only
That's one.
that, not only that, because I would say at least comics a bit darker, but ultimately he ends up being Superman in the end.
Yeah. They're,
But have you seen Brightburn?
yeah.
See
It's a James
Brightburn,
Gunn.
yeah, see Brightburn's probably the best example of Superman evil, but
Of
essentially
course.
evil, not corrupted. He's just it's his nature.
Let's say it's the natural course of events if you were to be a superhuman on Earth. You would use your powers not for
With
good.
well, in the
Sure,
thing I like
maybe.
about Brightburn is they don't make him because a lot of evil Superman stories are about corrupting Superman.
Yeah.
This kid
This isn't
is
like that.
no, because it's his nature. It's his species nature.
He's a kid.
Yeah,
Yeah. He's
yeah.
he's a kid. He can be selfish. He can be spiteful. He can be mad. He can be angry for no reason.
And then once he realizes he's got that power,
Yeah, he terrorizes everybody.
yeah, because oh nobody can stop me.
Yeah, there's no way you can like that Twilight Zone episode, like the Twilight Zone movie, the kid who could alter reality. If you don't have a moral compass, it can get out of hand really easily. And for, I mean, it's no coincidence that Superman is so popular, man. I mean, it's such a beautiful story. It's the fact that he got raised in Kansas, which isn't a big city.
Yeah,
It's not like a big state like with technology and big buildings. It's rural Kansas. It's like living in the countryside and like having more contact with regular people on a daily basis.
Well,
That's what
and
made him a good man.
yeah, and
That's what.
I will say, if a superpowered alien gets raised on my planet, I'd much rather he or she be raised in a small rural community versus a big city. That's a
Yeah, where a
whole different
corporation
person.
can get a hold of him really quick and like start mass producing Superman, you know,
Well,
and
not just
then
that, but there's a listen. I as someone who was raised in a small podunk town, actually outside of one, even more rural, not too far off from Superman. Um, they have their issues, but there is also a there's a quintessential morality about them, i.e., you help your neighbors out, you mind your own
you don't lock the door at
business.
night. You,
Yeah,
you you have people over for your barbecues.
yeah, yeah,
You talk to people. You know, one of my biggest pet peeves living in Mexico, and this is about Mexican culture, is every time I wanna share something about something that I saw, something that I like, people are people here are not very receptive to that. They don't congratulate you. They don't like. They're like, what do I care? Why are
yeah.
you telling me? What do I care about that? I don't care. I don't care that you won a fucking Lorcana tournament. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And they're like, I mean, it's a different kind of celebratory um, um, show. I mean, I don't know how to call it, but Americans, in my experience, if something good happens to you and you want to share it with someone, you'll be showered with congratulations and way to go, man.
Yeah,
Way to go, dude.
even if it's just like a knee jerk reaction, it's just because we're taught from a very young age the polite thing to do is say congratulations, even if you don't mean it. You still say it.
But most of
But
you,
most
I
people
mean,
mean it. Most people do mean it, especially if we know you.
dude, all my friends from Magic, all my American friends from that I've made from playing Magic, they're all so to the left. Like they're all like blue-haired, no spears, transsexuals. But dude, they're so lovely. I love them so much. They're so nice. They're like great people, dude. They're so smart. They're like they have movie night every night. That's an American thing.
Yeah,
Nobody in the world has that. Nobody in the world has it. They don't they can fathom it. They don't understand. Why would you watch a movie every night? Dude, it's movie night.
dude, because
We love
movies are
movie night.
awesome.
Movie night is awesome. You talk about the movie, you learn about the movie, you get ideas from the movie to what to do in your life.
Yeah.
That that to me is a treasure. Um,
Well, yeah, and I mean,
I don't
let's be real here.
know.
Like American movie output is, I mean, nobody competes, just nobody, both in scope and reception. But I want to pivot back to Star Trek for a second because um, making way for the sponsors for tonight's podcast. First, an announcement from the Final Frontier podcast. They're going to be at In Conjunction, Indy's oldest volunteer-run sci-fi convention. So here's a video talking about that. Hey everybody, it's Jake from the Final Frontier podcast, and I want to invite you to come see, well, kind of us. Me, definitely. Justin will be there in robot form. To In Conjunction, Indiana's oldest volunteer sci-fi and book convention. We have been graciously invited to lower the bar at In Conjunction, and we will happily do so, but we're also going to raise that fun bar. We're going to have our table set up, tell people about the podcast. If you watch and you're in the greater Indianapolis area, come say hi, take a photo. I'll sign something for you. I don't care. And we're going to have Star Trek merchandise to sell. We're going to have a raffle going off and free candy. Come to In Conjunction, say hi to us, and then check out all the other great stuff. And a little birdie told me there's going to be gaming and panels.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So,
That's pretty cool.
yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So come see us at In Conjunction July 10th through July 12th, 2026 at the Wyndham Indianapolis Airport. So that's the hotel that's right there, conveniently located close to the airport. And we will see you guys there at In Conjunction.
We will see you there.
I will see you. Justin will see a video feed of you. So check out the Final Frontier podcast In Conjunction if you're going to be in the greater Indianapolis area, July 10th through 12th. We're going to upload a special podcast too and have lots of videos, so check that out and subscribe to the Final Frontier podcast if you haven't already. And then also, speaking of Star Trek, Gotta give a shout out to we are an affiliate for Paramount Plus, where you can watch every single piece of Star Trek ever invented, plus a bunch of other really awesome stuff. Speaking of American movies, just introduced the family to Top Gun the other day. That was fun.
Great movie.
Also on Paramount
Great.
Plus. And if you use our link in the description, you can get a free, which you get a, I'm not gonna bullshit you. You get a free week when you sign up anyway, but if you use that link, it pays us instead of YouTube. So please and thank you. I highly recommend you try out Paramount Plus. And if you don't like it after a week, which trust me, you will like it, but you can cancel, but you won't want to, because I mean you got, like I said, Star Trek, South Park, UFC. Yeah, that's right. All the UFC events are on Paramount Plus. So
And The Godfather.
and The
You can watch
Godfather. Yep.
Another gem in the crown.
Paramount's whole library. It's the best streaming service in my opinion. That's right, Netflix. I said it. What are you going to do about it? Charge me more and tell me I can't make more profiles? You do that anyway.
Are you gonna lock me out of my account? I'll just make
No.
another one.
You do that anyway. But I'll just tell everybody to go to Paramount Plus. Screw you. So yeah, use that in the description. But yeah, man, Star Trek is such a God. I love Star Trek.
And speaking about the Final Frontier, if there's any Star Trek fans listening, I know that maybe this isn't gonna get much acceptance, but one of my favorite lines in the whole franchise comes from Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. I know people don't love that movie, but one of the best lines in the whole franchise comes from the moment when Captain Kirk is in the God planet and the planet's about to explode near the end of the movie. And I mean, he's cooked. Captain Kirk, he's on the surface of the planet. There's no way he can get back. He has no communication. He's alone, basically. And then he gets transported to a Klingon ship.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh. Yeah.
And he doesn't know what's going on. And then the doors open, and there's Spock there, greeting him, saving him.
Mm-hmm.
And William Shatner, an absolute juggernaut of an actor, he's like, Spock, I thought I was gonna die. And Spock says, impossible. You were never alone. Man,
Yeah, it's a
that
great...
got so deep, dude.
Yeah.
He was never alone, even if he didn't know it.
And I will say this: we touch on this a lot in the Final Frontier. For those who don't know, that show is every week we watch an episode of Star Trek and then we talk about it. There's a perception that William Shatner's a bad actor, and that's just not true. It's demonstrably untrue.
Oh yeah. You just have to watch Boston Public for a while, and you'll be convinced.
That's true, but I mean, namely his portrayal of Captain Kirk. He's known for there's some moments where he hams it up a bit, but I mean, who doesn't? I mean, have you seen Avery Brooks?
Yeah.
I mean,
but that's wonderful. The way they play it over the top. That's wonderful.
Sometimes it's necessary. I mean, lest we forget Jean-Luc Picard. No.
Yeah. Crying in
the line must be drawn here. No, father. I mean, but we love it.
First Contact. That's one of the great ones.
It is. That's such a good movie. That's such a good movie.
But I mean, the way that Leonard Nimoy delivers that line. I mean, dude, he's so logical about the character. Like, he has no emotion. He's like, impossible, Captain. Like, you were never alone. You could have died. I mean, that hit me so hard, man, because finding a friend in the world is very, very hard. Mm-hmm. Like a real friend, like who's willing to lose so you can win.
Yeah.
And again, I'm gonna sound like a parrot here, but that's an American value to me.
Certain, yeah. I would not disagree. It's not exclusive, but it's very commonplace.
It's not exclusive, yeah. Like talking about religion, like earlier in this podcast, like what I said about being ultra religious, being that I've studied a lot of religions, like the major ones. I've read about them. I find them all fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
I've never met a religion that I thought was evil. Even Satanism isn't evil.
Which is not, yeah, they talk about misunderstood.
Right.
Yeah,
but I mean,
it's not what you think it is.
They're all trying to get you to a better life. all the teachings of religion, be it Hinduism, Catholicism, the Jewish faith, they're all trying to get you to a better place in the world, to be a better person. That it got corrupted over time, and they became institutions, and they got economically tied to the people. That's another subject, and that's bad. And the fact that they want to convert people, that's. I mean, it's not evil in itself. It's maybe a necessary thing to do. It's a necessary bad action that you're taking.
Well, and it to me, it always comes from where is it coming from? There is a lot of evangelism that happens because you're quote unquote wanting to be part of the winning team. But then, and I'll never forget this because this was back when I was like a hardcore atheist. There was a guy who was just standing on the street with handing out Bibles, the little pocket Bibles, and
Right.
we had a brief conversation because I didn't want to be rude, but like I didn't care. But he said I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was something to the effect of like what did he? It's something to the effect of like because I mean I was transparent. I said I was an atheist, and he handed me that and he said, "Well, I hope you change your mind." And it wasn't like you're stupid. Like he genuinely, for the benefit of my eternal soul, hoped that I would change my mind.
That's good wishes. I mean,
Yeah,
if he thinks that you're living the wrong kind of life, that's one thing.
yeah.
But to want to make you change the way, like this is an example I had with a friend the other day. Let's say that a Jewish person and a Catholic person go into business,
Hmm.
and now the Jewish person tells his partner, his Catholic partner, that they can't operate on a Saturday
Oh, we had this
because
conversation before.
we did, because we have to respect Shabbat, man. I mean,
Yeah.
we can't have my business running on Shabbat. And then the Catholic says, okay, but we can't have our business running on Sundays because Sunday is my holy day to rest.
Hmm.
But then they realize that the business works better on weekends. So how do you resolve that?
The
How do you resolve your real life problem with your religious beliefs,
the
which
Catholic
are up?
works on Shabbat and the Jew works on Sunday.
But I can't let you work my business on Shabbat, even if you do the work.
Wait,
I have to
really?
close my. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, the Jewish religion is actually very beautiful. It's a very. I'm not like an avid. I'm not really that into religion. I don't comply with everything that has. I don't even know if I'm such a believer. But what I can tell you is that it's a beautiful religion. It gives you discipline. It holds family values very, very way up high. Very, 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 very well. And it values life above anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's the central tenet of the Jewish religion, is that they value life over anything. My life and your life. So when you come into conflict with other religions, especially in the modern world, it becomes a problem because you have to be able to reconcile your differences with a pragmatic and useful form of going about it. You
Oh,
know?
I got a solution. Hire an atheist.
Yeah. Higher. But you see, um, like again, I think that being ultra religious is a bad thing for the world because so many people don't adhere to your beliefs. I mean, not to say that your beliefs are wrong, they're never, but we all have our own internal balance of morals,
Yeah.
and we have to value everything based on our values. We have to weigh everything based on that. Sometimes you align with people, and that's how large groups get together. That's how nations get built. And sometimes you don't. Sometimes you just have to coexist separate. You
Hmm.
have to be able to say, okay, you know what? You get this piece of land, I get this piece of land, and let's just live the way we want to live separate. Because there's no way we're going to reconcile these differences. But that's a hard thing to do because space is limited, and when your site starts growing, you're going to need more space,
Oh, see,
right?
that's why we need to colonize Mars.
Or start building the cities on the sky, the
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
city,
The Elysiums, as it were.
the Elysians, right? Now, yeah. Um, we need to learn how to coexist, and I'm not even talking about the whole world. I mean, this thing that I've been seeing happening in America recently is that people are encouraged to hate each other, and you shouldn't hate each other.
No.
You should be able to differ in opinion. You should be able to even condemn the actions of another person, but to hate you, that that's not human. That's not good for anybody.
No, and
Just
where does it go? It's funny. It's not funny, but it's serendipitous that you bring that up because when I was eating dinner, my stepson asked me why are the like why are there so many people out there that hate Jewish people? And I
oh
had
yeah,
to
there's a
I had to really think about my answer because of like I know why, but how do I put this into
yeah. How do I say
words?
it without sounding partisan to what I'm trying to explain?
Well, not only that, to put it in a way that's accurate because it's a
Yeah,
fine line to explain why people believe something and sound like you're justifying it.
right, right. It's
So
hard
so
to
so it's like
convey it.
I can tell you why historically restrictions begat stereotypes and those stereotypes begat more restrictions and so on and perceptions, prefacing with it's all bullshit and you
Yeah,
shouldn't hate anyone for something as superficial as their religion or nationality because that it's not universal.
or because you want people that you love. You want to show the people that you love that you think like them. So if everybody in my family hates Jews, I have to hate Jews as well because then I'm a part of my family. I'm in the same channel with as they are. That's also a stupid reason too.
Yeah, that's insanely
Um,
stupid. God, there was another really good movie. I cannot remember. I think it's I always forget their names. It's based on a true story. It's like Best Enemies or something is what it was called, but it's the true story about um it took place in the Jim Crow South and the guy was like a high-ranking member of the Ku Klux Klan, and through a community initiative, he gets paired up with a black civil rights activist, and they become friends. And there's a really great scene at the end where he's the tie-breaking vote to desegregate the schools, and he gives a speech
okay,
about how he holds his Klan. He's like, "This is my membership to the Klan, and it was the happiest day of my life. I actually cried." And he was like, "But I got a problem because I don't believe in this anymore."
right.
And it's such a great movie because that's a really good case study of a movie that points out how hatred is stupid without pointing to the other side and saying you're stupid.
You know, I have this problem. Mm, I don't know if I want to say I hate Mexicans. I don't hold Mexicans in high regard,
Oh, so
and I'm
you are an
saying
American.
living in
I'm
Mexico,
kidding. I
dude,
kid. I kid.
everything is like an uphill battle. And I know I'm wrong. I know I'm generalizing, but generalities come from reality, right? It's not that you're making them up for just for being evil. But I don't find Mexicans as what's the word I'm looking for. I don't find them as accessible.
How so?
Um, whenever you have the choice, whenever you're presented in life with the choice to do either, so let's say I have the choice either to help you or not help you.
Mm.
With any example, let's say you need to get your car back from the parking lot and you can't make it, and you need me to go get your car. I have the option either to do it or not do it. Mexicans, dude, on 99.99999% of the time, are gonna come up with some kind of excuse why they can't do it. And I'm not blaming them. I'm not calling them evil or stupid or anything, but they just won't do it because what's in it for me?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, is it a cultural thing?
Apparently, in Mexico, we are raised with the idea, and I'm gonna say this in Spanish, okay? El que no tranza no avanza. He who does not do a tranza is like I say one thing and I do another thing.
Yeah.
Like I cheat you out of something. If you don't do it, you're not gonna advance in life. Mejor chingar que me chinguen. I'd rather fuck you up than have you fuck me up. Okay? So if you're like, if you're in Mexico and you're like, could you please go get my car, dude? I mean, I just can't make it and I need to fucking go through the thing. I mean, I'm not talking about all Mexicans, obviously. Some of them are real sweethearts. They're gonna do it, but most of them are gonna be like, ah, no puedo. I got my thing that night, and I can't make it. Oh no, and I can. And then when they stop the conversation, they're gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna do that for that guy. I don't care about that guy, even though they're friends, right?
Yeah.
So living in that atmosphere has soured me a bit, and I recognize that. On the other hand, I don't know if I'm right. People always tell me that I'm wrong about this, but dude, Americans are so nice. I know that not all of you, not all of them, not all of the people are the same. But what I just described, the situation that I just described, that I had to go get my friend's car, that happens all the time in America.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and probably me especially. I'm a little bit biased because I live in the Midwest. I live in Indiana, where like if you see your neighbor struggling with something, generally speaking, somebody's gonna go over and be like, "Hey, you need help with that, buddy?"
Dude, of course I'm gonna help you, dude. Why wouldn't I? And you
Yeah,
don't have to give me anything in return.
yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the well, but
That's
it's
the magical thing.
well, but it
If I do that
also
for you, then down the road, guess what? You have this party at your house and you have me come over and I have the time of my life because I was such a nice guy.
yeah.
That's how things work. It's like the chain of events, you know?
Well, Jordan Peterson said many times, but I've heard him say it is the best way to initiate a friendship is to ask someone for a favor.
Right. I mean, um, I guess that's the beauty of debates. You get to expose your point. You get to explain your stance, and then you have the other guy do the same
Yeah,
without interrupting, without berating them, without dismissing them, and then we both learn. We don't have to change our minds. We don't have to concede the point. We just have to learn. Why is he saying that? Like the whole Trump thing, okay? Like people say Trump unleashed ICE on people, and those ICE agents, they're not even policemen, they're evil and they're racists, and they if they see you on the street and you're black or brown, they're gonna come over to hassle you even if you're rich. They're not gonna they don't care about your social status. They just care of your skin color. Well, have you stopped to think why that happened? And
yeah. It
this
was
is the part where I try to explain why it's happening, and people are gonna say that I'm a Trump supporter and I can't. He's a pedophile, and this is proven, and you support pedophiles. I'm like, dude, the guy got elected president of the most powerful country in the world.
twice.
He's trying to clean it up twice. Some would say 3 times, but he's trying. The reason that he's doing this is because he's trying to clean things up, and he has to do it publicly. He has to let the people know that he's getting people out of the country. Which people? Well, the dangerous ones.
Well,
We don't want to take like mothers, like the housekeepers of the world. We don't want to take them out. We want to get people out, like young men that are easily prone to crime, young men that are very easily convinced to turn to a life of crime. They're very easily convinced to join gangs and to just start wrecking mayhem in the country. He's trying to clean it up. The fact that I recognize the reason that he's doing it, why he's doing it, does not mean that I support what he's doing. Does not mean that I love what's happening. I don't love that it's happening. I know it's gonna stop.
yeah,
I know it's gonna come a point that it's gonna stop, and it's gonna stop happening that they're deporting people. And I know that the country is gonna be better for it, because that's why he got elected. That half of America loves the guy. They love Donald Trump. I like him. I mean, I remember watching him when I was a kid. He was like the richest person, like to a kid. He
yeah.
was the richest person in the world, and he went on movies, and he was on TV shows and commercials and SNL, and everybody loved the public figure of Trump. The Apprentice, and all that shit. It's just after he became president that everybody started getting these
Well,
ideas
it was when he switched to Republican.
because he switched.
Yeah.
I mean, they knew. I don't know if they took this out of the playbook from Idiocracy, because I don't know if they knew it was gonna work. I remember I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe when Trump beat Hillary Clinton. Dude. To me, that was like such a surprise. I'm like, we're going the movie way here. It's gonna happen.
I always make the joke they found the one person in America that people disliked more than Donald Trump.
Who's that?
Hillary Clinton.
Oh yeah, well, she's she's a number, man. She's quite
She's something, all right.
yeah.
But to because the immigration enforcement in the United States is something that I have a high degree of nuance in, and I said this multiple times on Average Intelligence. And like, because full disclosure, I voted for Trump, but I will say, even I was in the voting booth, I was I was hovering because historically, in his first term, Trump did good things for the economy, and the economy was in the shitter at the time. Thanks, Biden. Um,
Right.
and I even said at the time
Yeah,
that,
thanks, Obama.
yeah, I ultimately voted for Trump because I bought into the economic fears, and I was hoping that his rhetoric, his actual actions would not be as extreme as his rhetoric when it came to immigration. Turns out I was wrong.
Of course. Yeah,
Um,
that was a surprise.
I was
He
very
actually,
wrong. Well, but I said when all this was starting to go down. So when Trump was saying things like we're going to go out, more so Tom Homan than Trump, but Trump did say it when he was saying like we're gonna go after the hardcore criminals, and I was like, okay, as long as you do that, I'm still on your team. And it became very clear that it turns out arresting criminals is hard. Uh,
yeah,
Apprehending people with clerical errors in their immigration paperwork is a lot easier. And funnily enough, that's what they ended up doing. But I said, okay, this is only going to be palatable for so long. I don't know what the tipping point is, but once there's a certain number of videos going around of, like ICE agents holding a baby and,
right.
putting their
Punching
mother,
a lady in the face. Yeah,
well, not even that, just, like a crying baby and the baby's mother being hauled off in handcuffs. That's only going to be palatable for so long. And it turns out that and then there's a lot of other problems with ICE. Like they've had their big upticks in the number of agents that have nowhere close to proper training or adequate
right.
training. Like
It
that
was an
idiot.
express mission. It was an express mission.
Well, right, but I mean, it's again. So I can understand, and I blame the Biden administration the same, if not more, because they did create the problem. There's
Right.
no.
He let the people in, but I mean, it's really weird because in the debate that Biden had with Trump in 2020, Biden actually said, first thing we have to do is search the border. I mean, he said it in his own special way of mumbling and speaking
First,
fast. First thing we're going to do, we're going to search the border.
first thing I do is gotta open the door. I mean, gotta close the door.
Do it with a pony. He's got a hat on his head. Okay, but
So
he did
wide
say
open,
it.
you
He
can ride a horse.
Yeah. I mean, it happened. Now he's trying to clean it up. His time he has a very explicit time frame to do it too.
Well, and
Because
he's not going to, because I got news for people. You won't see as big of a shift just because the amount of races and where they are. Where the Republicans can lose big in the midterms, they're going to lose big. And then in 2028, there's no way a Republican's going to win the White House. There's no fucking way.
yeah, probably not. Probably not because
It's not going to happen.
the alternating of power in America has to be equal. It has
Yeah.
to come in generations. It has to be like what Clinton had. Like Clinton had 8 years, then Bush had 8 years, then Obama had 8 years. That's healthier than trying to oppress the other side, which is like I guess the plan nowadays.
Well,
People
but
think that you have
and this is where okay, this is where the Trump administration, namely Stephen Miller, but there's more than one person in there. They're fucking stupid because
Yeah.
because what they don't understand is all these changes that they've rolled out are going to come back to bite them in the ass later because in their infinite wisdom they brought a case to the Supreme Court where now federal judges cannot issue nationwide injunctions. You know how they stopped OSHA COVID mandates?
By doing exactly that.
A
By having
federal
a judge,
injunction.
right? By a local judge. Just
Yeah. And guess what, dipshits? That doesn't exist anymore. So the
yeah, if you
next
get rid
time,
of that, then when I get in power, yeah, you're not
oh,
gonna you're not
they're gonna exploit the shit out of it. I'm telling you, it's gonna be rough for the conservative crowd.
so one thing I've heard lately is that people like a meme, and people say, "Oh, I remember the days when the president was smarter than me." Like I long for the days when my president was smarter than me. But I mean, Trump is really smart. I mean, things I don't like about Trump. Okay, let's talk about the things I don't like about Trump. I don't like the way that he always exaggerates his speech. He's like, "Hey, Mr. Trump, what do you think about this napkin? That's the best napkin in the world. There's no better than."
Well,
Dude, you're obviously
actually, Alexander, I have to say it's the greatest napkin ever. It's the best. You know why it's the best? Because it's a Trump napkin.
it. It's gonna be the best napkin in his. I've been the best. But I mean, on one part, I mean, I do believe that he knows that he's um, being a jerk about it. He knows what he's saying. The other is that he knows that a bunch of people that are listening are gonna buy it. As
Mm-hmm.
said, a bunch of people that trust him and love him are gonna be like, well, he said it, so it is the greatest, the
Well,
biggest and the
and
best.
let's not. I pointed this out when he was first running in 2016. Trump is a student of pro wrestling, and he gets it. Trump knows how to work a crowd, whether he wants
He's a
to be a
showman.
heel. Yeah, whether he wants to be a heel or babyface, and he knows which one he wants to be at any given
Right.
time, and he's a master at it. So I said at the time when it was a joke, when even the Republican primaries when they were writing him off, I said, "Hmm,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of pro wrestling, want to let everybody know if you're still watching, we are still actively looking for a co-host or two for the pro wrestling podcast down the middle. I'm itching to get back into talking about pro wrestling, but me sitting there talking about it by myself is boring as hell. So I need co-hosts. So if you can commit to 2 podcasts a month for about an hour and are a fan of pro wrestling, let us know because you can direct message on YouTube now.
Jump in, guys.
Jump in. The only
But
requirement you have to be quasi informed about pro wrestling.
that's it.
Yeah. I was the one who
So
kept I was the one who kept pointing out that Donald Trump had a WrestleMania victory by proxy, but he did have a
yeah,
WrestleMania victory.
he did. That's another product you just mentioned.
Oh
That's
God, yeah, pro
highly
wrestling. Jeez.
American import. Pro
Oh,
wrestling.
especially in Mexico.
Bro, we love it. We eat it up. Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant,
Here's
the Ultimate Warrior.
I have to share this story. Okay, you'll appreciate this as someone very familiar with Mexican pop culture. So my wife was showing me some episodes of El Chavo de Ocho.
That's an amazing show, dude.
It really is. It's very very funny. But she showed me one skit in particular, where all the kids are in school. It's Chavo, La Chilindrina, and Kiko, and they're in class,
Right.
and their professor is like, it's their quote unquote English lesson. And I don't remember what the joke was, because I didn't get it initially, but something about Fuerza Azul,
Okay.
and he was like, "Give me some examples," and Kiko goes, "Blue Demon." Uh, what was the other one? Not El Hijo del Fantasma. La, I don't remember, but he's naming, and this is in the 1970s, so he's naming like big name luchadors. And the funny thing was, she didn't get, because my wife's Venezuelan, she's not Mexican. She didn't get the joke, and I'm killing myself because I get the joke. I recognize what this kid is pointing out, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, geez, that is hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
hilarious.
Pirito was a real genius in innocent comedy.
Yeah. Oh
He
God,
really,
it's so funny. It's so funny.
I love it. I love it.
It is
But
a
but
great
as you
show.
can see, we can find American influence in all of that.
Oh,
We
for
can
sure.
find, because American humor is its own thing.
It is.
You know,
But to point out another example, are you familiar with the Luchador Octagon?
yeah,
You know that's
yeah.
based on the name of a Chuck Norris movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's great. That's great. Yeah,
That's
all those wrestlers, every wrestler in Mexico, and I'll tell you this as a fact by experience. Every wrestler in Mexico, they love the WWF.
they do.
They fucking revere it.
Well, they all want to. So again, going another kind of cultural. One of my favorite, not just luchador, one of my favorite wrestlers ever is Pentagon or Penta El Cero Miedo, depending on at what era and where you're watching him. I think now he's just Penta. God, he's such okay. First of all, class act of a human being. Like that dude is awesome. I share this story fairly often when he was still because I first discovered him on Lucha Underground, which um, was a God, it's a great show, and apparently you can legally watch all of it on YouTube now, so I highly recommend it. Really awesome show. But apparently he crossed the border illegally and was banned, and because of that show, he ended up being able to travel to the United States legally. So um, a lot of Americans didn't know who he was because he was only able to wrestle in Mexico and smaller independents because he wrestled for AAA. Um, so he comes here and he just I mean just it was a slow explosion, but I mean he exploded, right? um but during that time where he wasn't on Lucha Underground but he was working a lot of the indies in the US, I messaged him and I was inquiring, and my Spanish was not very good at the time, but I was trying to because at the time Penta didn't speak English. So I was just asking him like, hey man, like how do I buy merch? And then he messaged me back, and long story short, he told me how, and I bought a shirt. Very cool dude. And I'm not one of those people, like, I didn't keep DMing him, but that message was always there, right? And when he landed a contract with AEW, I felt compelled, and I knew he wasn't going to read it, or at least I thought he wasn't going to read it. And I opened that old conversation up, and I sent him a message again. I said, hey, I know you're probably not going to see this, but I just wanted to say I've been following your career since I saw you in Lucha Underground. I saw that you just signed with AEW. Congratulations. You're going to rock this shit. Like, just, it's so awesome for you.
I'm really happy to see it. Yeah,
That's all it was. Now, he didn't respond, but he did like the message. Because
he
I imagine,
acknowledged it.
yeah, he acknowledged it. I imagine he gets a lot, especially now that he's in WWE. But I imagine,
Right.
but then I also see like he's such an awesome. The first time I saw, because his character is very violent, like he's a very violent wrestler. That dude, and I think I know why. That dude is just one in a million when it comes to kids. The first time I saw this was he was wrestling with TNA at the time, and they were doing shows in Mexico fairly often. And there was a kid in the audience who like couldn't have been a day over 3, like very very small child, and he had a little Penta action
Hmm.
figure. Penta is known to have he has extra masks that he'll give out to kids, but he had one, puts it on the kid, like just, and
Lovely.
he does that kind of stuff all the time.
Lovely.
He's such an awesome, and he's not the only one. Like there's so many wrestlers that are like, let's not even mention John Cena, who's like I think holds the record for the most Make-A-Wish wishes
Yeah,
in the
he
world.
seems really nice. He seems like a really nice guy.
Yeah, I mean, but they're so, because pro wrestling's an art form that still is very much like you still have to cut your teeth like pretty heavy. So once you make it, there's very few people that are like, yeah, I'm the greatest thing ever, even though they play that on TV. Like,
Ego is it can be bad and it can be necessary
yeah,
for
but
you to.
But what I'm saying is, when it comes to pro wrestlers, when they make it big, generally speaking, they've paid their dues for at least a decade, if not more. So
Right.
they tend to be
So they
not everybody, but they do tend to be very nice people, very
right.
cool people.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go back to saying what I've said. This American ideal that you have to have the best man for the job and that you have to excel at what you're doing. That's a heavy task. That's
Hmm.
I mean, just saying it is easy, but being great at something,
It's hard.
being accepted, it's very hard. It takes magic to do that, man. It takes like resilience and smarts and help from other people. And that system has come to us via America. And now that you mentioned what happened, like the example you just gave with like the little kid, a lot of American media is aimed at children.
Yeah.
They know that to educate a child is going to be a plus in 20 years, in 15 years. I remember speaking specifically of me. I remember when I was little and I was like getting I had all these action figures and I read all these like comic books and stuff like and watched the movies. I remember thinking all the time, well, grown-ups think that we kids are stupid,
Oh,
but we're not.
no.
We're really smart. We understand things. I thought that as a kid, as a 10-year-old, as a 9-year-old,
Kids are smarter than they appear, but they're also way more perceptive than people.
and they're very easy to influence. Kids are very innocent. They're gonna believe what they hear,
Yeah,
especially when they're
but I will say nobody calls bullshit out better than a small child.
right because they're more honest. They don't have to sugarcoat things. But that feeling that I got as a kid, that I'm not dumb. I got that from the cartoons and the
Yeah,
comics and the movies. I got it from you guys from America. They told me that. They told me that in GI Joe. They told me
yeah.
that in Bionic Six. They told me that in Mask. Remember Mask?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Well, wait, hang on. Movie or well, which movie?
a cartoon. It
Oh,
was a cartoon about these guys. They had these different vehicles, like a jeep and a
oh yeah, 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 yeah. You told. Wow, yeah.
motorcycle.
That.
And they'll put masks on and
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were talking Jim Carrey or the Rocky.
or yeah, Rocky Dennis, the Rocky
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Dennis
yeah,
story.
yeah, yeah.
All of those. Well, all
I
of
mean,
those
yeah.
taught me
Frankly,
that I'm not stupid. I'm
yeah.
smart.
Well, okay. Let's talk about because even being raised in America, dude, I didn't realize it till I was an adult. So much of my morality I learned from the cartoons that I watched as a child. Those
Yeah,
lessons of like, you know, fighting for a good cause, even though,
standing
you
up to oppression, standing up
but not even,
to
but
the
not even specifically not for personal gain, because like you said, Superman's one. There are so many heroes that I watched and admired growing up that did it not because it benefited them. In fact, most of them would have been better off
of
not
course.
going. I mean, like Spider-Man. Peter Parker would have a much easier life if he
That's a
wasn't Spider-Man.
story. The Spider-Man story can bring you to tears.
So many
It
times.
can, yeah, yeah. The
And shout
tragedy
out,
that
shout out Andrew Garfield again. That Uncle Ben death scene, oh, dude, got you like a fish. Because my friend Eric is a bit of an asshole. I now can't watch the Tobey Maguire one without laughing because
right, because
because
of
he
the
because Eric will always go Peter.
Toby was amazing as well. He
I
was
so
really great.
but here's the thing. Those movies are still really good, and
Yeah.
and and the emotion's real. It was just during a time that was a little bit different. But you still feel it. You still feel it
Well,
when,
we were hungry for a good Spider-Man product at the time, so
well, and people
you
forget
know,
around that time we just didn't have superhero movies. And around the time
no,
when Spider-Man and X-Men came out, I still maintain, dude, the 2000 X-Men is a masterpiece that's overlooked now for what it
I mean
is.
you can probably see its flaws in hindsight now,
Sure,
like the
sure.
uniforms and the storylines. like the
but
rogue
here's the thing:
storyline.
in 2000, as much as people love seeing the yellow costume in Deadpool and Wolverine, that would have never flied in 2000. That would have been
Never. It
ridiculous.
would have been shut down. It would have been it would have been a
They
disaster.
they made a joke of it in the movie. What did you expect? Yellow spandex?
Right. Those Alex,
And we
yeah.
all went ha 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 ha. And now people bitch and moan and complain about Hugh Jackman's too tall to play Wolverine. Really? If they put a 5'3" guy in there in 2000, it was never going to happen.
Well, they had to play off of the Matrix, right? Which was
Yeah.
so big at the time. So that's and the comics emulated it.
Mhm.
It was such a hit that the comics came up with the new X-Men, and they all dressed the same as in the movies. Like not the
Yeah.
same, but they all have like the black outfits with the X, and
Oh, are you talking
because
about X-Men Evolution?
I'm talking
Oh, no,
about
no, you're talking about the comics. Yeah, yeah. But X-Men
like,
Evolution is an underrated series too.
right, right. It is. Yeah.
Which was a show that speaking of those moralities we were talking about much later, because this came about. When did that show come about?
Like 2001,
Was it
if I'm
that
not
young?
mistaken. Like 2002 maybe.
Yeah, it was when those movies were coming out. But
Right.
I wouldn't say out of the realm of possibility, but certainly later than a lot of the shows we've been talking about. But some similar. I mean, you want to talk about a show that preaches anti-hatred. I mean, it's there. But I did want to bring up.
There's
Did
no
you?
better than X-Men. Dude,
Yeah,
the X-Men are a group of people that fight and protect people who hate them and fear them.
exactly. Specifically though, did you watch X-Men '97 season 1?
I haven't watched it. Not yet.
Okay,
I
I'm
know
not
it's
gonna.
great.
I'm not
I've
gonna.
watched, I've, I've watched clips. I
Okay,
just haven't sat down and watched it.
you may have seen the clips. It's the episode where the Sentinels attack Genosha. So
Oh,
and Gambit rightfully
bro.
gets a lot of credit for that scene. However, Magneto has a moment that as a language nerd, I love this moment. So there's a moment where Magneto has Leech. You remember Leech, right?
Yeah,
The Morlock. He's
right.
got him. He's got him in a protective magnetic sphere, but it's Master Mold is attacking. And it becomes very clear that he's not going to be able to hold this for much longer at all. And Leech looks up at him and is petrified, and Magneto looks down at him, and I love the fact he says it in German. He looks at him and goes, "Habe keine Angst," which for those who don't know is German for he's literally saying have no fear. But he's basically saying
Love,
don't be afraid. And that's why
incredible.
I love the character of Magneto just as a character because
It is.
I love
It's a
he's a bad guy.
awesome.
He's a bad guy,
It
but
is.
he
But
also
why is he that guy?
well
Why is he a bad?
but also he's still friends with Charles Xavier. He would
Love him.
sacrifice his life to save
Their
Charles
brother.
Xavier. Yeah.
Their brother. He did.
He
He actually
he
did.
would just love it if Charles would just come around.
Friend, listen to what I'm saying. We can't change the world by asking it to change. We have to make it change.
Well, I forget if it was in the series or a movie. I think it's in both, where Magneto basically tells Charles, he's like, "Listen, I'm not even asking you to join me. Just stay out of my way." So good.
And Charles feels the same way about Magneto. Charles, in his mind, he knows what Magneto is doing is beneficial to the mutant race.
He understands. Yeah, it's like we were talking about. He understands. He doesn't agree, but he understands.
Right? And he doesn't want him to go through it that way.
Well, and Charles at certain points even questions himself. He's like, "Is Magneto right?"
You know what? They tried to recreate that in the new Superman movie and it failed so bad.
Yeah, yeah.
When he gives his speech at the end, and I hope that you realize this, Lex. I mean, they fucked it up. And they tried it again in a more recent movie that I just watched. Let me think if I can remember which one was where the good guy. Oh, in the He-Man movie. I actually went to see the He-Man movie. It was it was so much better than I thought. So much better than I thought.
That's what Virus was saying. He was saying it was really good. And I'm pleased to announce because we're going to talk about Mortal Kombat 2 on Toon Talk. I started it. It's already leaps and bounds. Like within the first 10 minutes, it's already leaps and bounds better of the one in 2021.
Yeah.
which
I actually rewatched the first one, and I did like the 2021 one. I didn't like it at all.
dude, I jokingly refer to that movie as Mortal Kombat Preparation. Both as an allusion to Preparation H, and also because it's Mortal Kombat with no tournament, and that really pissed me off.
Yeah, what are you
It really pissed me off.
people characters do things out of character with no reason
Well,
just
and it's
because
just
it's
so many
the plot.
stupid things happen in that movie. Like, explain to me, like, the whole concept of Arcana is dumb as shit. Like, I hated it. Raiden is worthless in that movie. Like,
Worthless.
like,
Worthless.
oh god, he's so bad. But yeah, so I'm like, where I got hopeful was they put out an extended release teaser of Johnny Cage's fight with Baraka,
No,
and I'm watching that. I'm like, okay, because I had concerns that Carl Urban was too old to play Johnny Cage, and
I was going to say the same thing. I
I
was going to
I
say the
still
same
kind of
thing.
think so. But I mean, it is Carl Urban, so
He's an amazing actor.
yeah. So
I
if
know, I know, I throw around the word amazing a lot, but but the things that we're talking about are amazing. So that's why
well,
I do
but
it.
and I do want to touch on before we go. I do also want to touch on because one of the things is everything we've been talking about has originated in America, and I mean, let's talk about Batman.
Yeah. Well, who doesn't love Batman?
I, Bane.
The
But
Joker, man,
even no, the Joker, dude, the Joker loves Batman.
he loves him.
He
Yeah, he
even
wants to keep
says, yeah, he even
forever
says, "What in the world would I do without you?"
without you. Yeah, life would have no meaning.
Yeah.
You're so good at catching me, Batman.
Well, no, but I mean, it's funny. It's God. It happens in various incarnations in a couple different ways, where the Joker essentially says, "It's like it's because of you that I even exist, and if you
Yes.
weren't here, what would I do with myself?"
Batman, dude, a guy who had a tragedy early in his life, in a position of power, because he became a billionaire because of it, because of his tragedy, and he chose to take his life to an extreme poverty. He he wanted to experience the world not as a millionaire playboy, but as a poor man traveling around the world. And he cultivated himself, and he learned to get to the peak of humanity,
Hmm.
both physically and mentally.
Yeah.
He did it because he's an American, man.
Well, and to push Batman even further, and I know there are some versions where he has no aversion to firearms, but kind of my
Yeah.
quintessential Batman is, and it will tie into the other series I wanted to talk about. I do like my Batman to not want to kill and not want to use guns specifically, and I know you've seen it because how could you be a Batman fan and not? Dude, the moment in Batman Beyond in the first episode where it's the flashback where Bruce has the heart attack in the bat suit and he pulls a gun on the guy, and then that's when he quits.
Yeah,
That's when he hangs
yeah,
up the cowl. And
he can do it. Yeah, the no killing rule in Batman is a huge deal.
yeah,
And you know what? Surprise, that's an American ideal.
it's certainly an ideal, yes, but
I
I
don't have to
love,
kill you.
yeah.
I don't have to kill you to change you. I mean, I
Well,
don't even have to change you. I don't have to kill you to coexist with you.
well, not only that, my favorite sort of
If I
my
kill you,
yeah, my favorite sort of reasoning in that is comes from which I still maintain is it's certainly my favorite Batman movie, Batman Under the Red Hood. When Jason's being like, I'm not talking about Penguin or Riddler, but why didn't you kill him? Referring to the Joker, and he was like, wouldn't you think that you know like this would have been the easiest thing? And that's what Batman says. It's like no, because it would have been too easy. But once you cross that line, you can never come back.
it's the wisdom of knowing that who am I to make this action? Who am I to end this life?
Yeah,
Sure, a megalomaniac, homicidal asshole, but I don't have that power in me. I don't get to decide who lives and dies,
and
even though I can.
yeah,
I
well,
won't.
and to bring back Ian McKellen, Sir Ian McKellen, who, God, if I ever got a chance to meet him, I just say thank you for
Yeah.
everything.
I would too. I would hug him if he let
Dude,
me.
dude, I think he would. He seems like that kind of guy. Um,
Yeah.
there's a often misunderstood, which I shouldn't give. I mean, he delivers it well, but technically it's Tolkien who gave us the line.
Right.
Um, it's often overlooked because I love that moment when they're in Moria and Frodo basically says, "I wish Bilbo would have killed Gollum when he had the chance." There's a line
Right.
Gandalf says where it comes right after he's like, "Many that live deserve death, and some that die deserve life." And then Gandalf hits Frodo with, "Can you give it to them, Frodo?" Referring to the people that die who deserve life.
Sure, sure. You can give them death. Can you give them life?
Exactly, but that's what Gandalf. I love that because Gandalf is essentially saying you only have the authority to grant death if you can also grant life, and
Right.
you can't grant life, so never be too quick to deal out death and judgment. And
That's
lo and
wisdom.
behold,
That's not intelligence. That's wisdom.
that is yeah, that's very much wisdom. But I did want to shout out Batman Beyond because you want to talk about a show that had no business being as good as it was. It takes all the best elements from Batman and Spider-Man and
Such
just
a hidden gem it was, Batman Beyond, because
so good
at the time we didn't really like the idea of a futuristic Batman, you know?
until we saw it, and then we were like, okay, this is awesome. I'm still trying to make Shui a thing. It's not too
Yeah,
late. It's not
I'm
too late.
sure.
Shui. And hey, they were right about the mini CDs, at least for a little while. They were big in Japan.
Yeah.
Oh god. But yeah, I
Bro,
mean that's another
I know that people have the idea nowadays that Americans are dumb because they do, because a lot of them are. But the ones that aren't vocal, the Americans that we don't know, are super smart, man. The
that's that
smartest
I'd,
in the
I'd say that's generally there is a loud vocal minority
yeah.
and because I've often talked about the silent majority in the United States and I still maintain this. 80% of Americans just want to be left alone.
I mean, what do I want in life? I want a nice life. I want to be relaxed. I don't want to suffer. I mean, and everybody should have their own list of what they like. Like my example, like for example, like I like playing Magic the Gathering on the computer. I like watching movies. I like reading Wikipedia. That's what I want to do. That's all. If you can provide it, if you can provide that to me as a government, I'll vote for you.
Just nothing
That's
else.
what I think. I mean, I'm excluding things, right? Because I don't
Yeah,
have a
yeah, yeah.
job, but I mean, I don't like to suffer. That's for sure. I don't want to be looking over my shoulder, like because, dude, life in Mexico. I'm not gonna say it's like a war zone, but there's no one here to protect you. You know, the,
Yeah.
the police here, they're no good. See, if you have a problem in Mexico and you run to the police, they're not gonna help you. They're gonna ask you for money 100% of the time, and if you do have the money, they're gonna present some other obstacles. But I mean, if you have money, like I said, if you have money in Mexico, you're rich.
Yeah.
There's no in between. But if you're a regular person like me that we live like day to day, and you go to the police for help, they're not gonna help you, man. They don't care.
There's an astonishing amount of people who have a negative opinion of the police in America. And listen, there are problems. I understand that, but who would
Yeah,
very very quickly dial 911
of course,
in a legitimate emergency.
dude. Police in America, you don't fuck with them. Okay,
No,
they are
it'd be
the
a very stupid thing to
authority.
do.
There's such a thing as suicide by cop, where people think that if they rile up the policeman the necessary amount, they're gonna get shot. That's a thing. That would never happen in Mexico, dude. Never ever. You can go up to a policeman in Mexico. You can have an argument with them. You can even grab them by the collar and start shaking them, and they're not gonna shoot you. You might get a slap, you might get a punch in the face, maybe they're gonna throw you on the ground, but they're never gonna kill you. Never. They're gonna get in so much trouble here if they do that. They're gonna go to jail for life because they don't have qualified immunity like policemen do in America. But that, I mean, Police in America are efficient, man. Like you said, there's problems. Yeah, of course there are
But
problems. Nothing's perfect. They're not perfect.
any large group of any
Of
kind,
course.
there's gonna be
Especially
problems.
if you're trying to police people, if you're trying to make people stop acting away. But you know that in America, if you have a problem and you call 911, you get a squad car in 2 minutes.
Yeah, well, and the very best way to not have a negative altercation with the police is to do what they tell you to do.
Well, you have to because, like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I've been watching doctor videos or whatever, but every video that I watch that's about police brutality and like this motherfucking policeman, the police are always professional about it. They're always repeating themselves. Get out of the car. Get out of the car. I'm done messing with you. Get out of the car. They never step out of line. They never abuse their authority like people are led to believe. They just don't. Like they lose their temper maybe sometimes. If you tell the same person like 50 times over to put their hands on their back and they don't do it, maybe
Well,
you
and
just
see, the thing is, for every viral video that shows police brutality, there would be, if everybody recorded every single interaction. Here's a good example. For every viral video that shows police brutality, there's probably 10,000 dash cam videos or body cam
right,
videos
but they're just their job.
of just normal interaction.
Right. Yeah, no altercations, no punches, no screaming, no
Well,
yelling.
and it's worthwhile to know that some of those viral videos are from police body cams.
There's a reason why they tape themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a known thing that they have to tape themselves,
I
right?
mean, and there's cops that I train with in Krav Maga, and I don't want to fight them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, respect is something that can't be obligated. Respect is something that just comes from within.
Yeah.
Either you respect someone or you don't. You can't be made to respect someone, right? And if you don't respect someone, trouble is bound to happen.
Well, but also I do find, just tying it back into, the United States too, is people do like to hate on winners, for lack of a better
Yeah,
word.
dude. As much as we don't like to say it, things are how they are.
Well, a good example recently is everybody that's shitting on Elon Musk. And it's like, oh, well, when does your rocket launch?
Yeah.
You know,
What have you done? I mean, and the guy's super smart. I mean, you hear him
I,
talk on the
listen, you can have your ideological differences with Elon Musk. Lord knows I disagree with him on some things, but the people online that call him stupid, it's just like,
yeah,
dude, no.
yeah. I mean, there's a trend going about nowadays, in our days, where people think that if you belittle someone, you beat them. You beat their point.
Yeah, you're bitching
So
about Elon Musk and he's never heard of you.
so you might say to me, "Hey, Alexander, how come you don't have a job?" And then if I'm an idiot, I'll come back with, "Well, you don't have a job." But that's not what we're talking about. We're not comparing our resumes. I'm talking about you don't having a job. You're not having a job. So if you want, we can discuss that subject, but don't come back to me with, well, you are this. I mean, not me, you, you know?
Yeah.
But people nowadays think that they win an argument when they turn it back. And I mean, there's a lot of dumb people trying to debate. I mean, we saw that with Charlie Kirk, right?
I watched, dude. I watched one today that I shouldn't say I watched. I listened to it at work when I was working. It was a debate of four Muslims and one Christian, and I'm like, this is the worst debate I've ever heard, because you're all, first of all of you are straw manning
Yeah.
while claiming to be strawmanned, and you're all making, and I mean everyone involved, even the host. Like, this was a
Right.
horrible example of, like, literally, and both sides did it. Like, it was universally horrible. Um, like, they would cite a study, and then the other side would criticize it for being like well, what's the sample size, or what's the, like, is that a efficient cause, blah blah blah, and then literally not 5 minutes later turn around when the other side presented a study and do the exact same thing.
Yeah, yeah. And they get people to agree with them. They get claps, and
And
they get
and
like
and
lift
one
up.
of and one of the things I cannot stand is the excuse me, I'm speaking. Excuse me, I'm
Yeah,
talking. I hate that shit so much.
they got that from Kamala.
She
They
certainly
got that.
popularized it. I'm speaking.
I mean, it's not the way to go about it, but I mean, interrupting people shows that you're dumb. Yeah, because you don't want to hear what they're saying. You're scared of what they're saying. That's why you
Well,
want to shut them up.
personally, I think a rule in any debate is notepads should be allowed, because if I'm having a debate with someone, I'll have a pad and I'll let them make their point, and I'll just jot things, be like, okay, argue this, ask this question, blah blah blah, and then when they're done, that's when you hit them with the
Retort
questions or the
when it's my time to
retorts or
retort. Yeah. But speaking about American exceptionalism and all this subject, I realize that Americans didn't invent all these things. They
no.
didn't invent them. They perfected them
I was gonna say,
from studying history, like the Greek culture, right? Like we all know the Greek culture. We know that debates started in the Greek culture. Why did the Greek culture rise above everyone else? Because when little tribes were having their little council discussions, and they were throwing stones at each other and spitting on their faces and calling them, the Greek were having debates. They were exposing ideas, and then they shut up, and they hear the other side talk.
and then other
And
Greeks
then
realized that armor works.
I mean, I'm pretty sure the founding fathers of America and everybody that came after them, they perfected those ideals. They
Yeah.
perfected that. They said, well, we can either start arguing about this in a violent manner and calling each other names, or we can debate like the ancient Greeks did. So they perfected it. The whole compassion thing, the whole technology thing, the whole, I don't know, the art.
The
I think
the
they're
the
the
yeah, the
so,
idea that a mediocre compromise is a far better outcome than a war.
of course, because it is
Yeah.
right. I mean, it's like Panama. I've never been to Panama, but I've heard that life in Panama is not. It doesn't suck.
Yeah, I've heard
I've
good
heard
things
that
about
Panama
Panama.
is really dirty. you know.
Yeah.
And now compare it to Bolivia or places like Ecuador, which we're playing right now in the World Cup. It's Mexico, Ecuador.
Oh, so Mexico's still in it. I was initially pressured, family pressure, to watch Colombia play their games, but I've come to appreciate. I've come to at least appreciate the game of soccer. I'm not going to say that I'm not going to say I'm a
Yeah,
fan, but
yeah.
I can understand the appeal. I certainly appreciate the defined time limit.
Mm, I like the fact that the guys that play soccer are real athletes because they really do the workout. They really
Yeah.
run a lot. And they really they have to sharpen their reflexes and stuff like that. So I appreciate that. Now the sport, I don't like it because it's all about trying, or the way it's played for decades now is, or its whole history by that matter, is that they're always trying to like fool the referee.
Yeah.
They're always trying to like, oh, this is like a penalty kick, penalty. Oh my god, I'm dying. Dude, just get up and keep playing. Why aren't you capable of just giving us like a great
Be,
show?
because the rules reward that, honestly. Because I
Right? Yeah,
literally
because they're not molded. Yeah,
in the last game I watched, one of the players from Portugal, literally in the same shot they didn't cut. I saw him go down because a fly hit him, and you'd have thought he'd been shot in the calf, and then
yeah, yeah,
realize
yeah.
and but then realized the referee wasn't looking, and then just
And he
got
got up.
up. Yeah.
Yeah. He said it's not working, and now we can see it more clearly because we have cameras all over.
Yeah.
But back in the day, They would do it all the time
I gotta
just
say,
to see. Yeah,
man, like kudos to those refs because there were a couple of times during those games where I watch them be like, "Well, hey, no, that dude kicked it out," but then they show the replay, and I'm like, "Damn, that dude was like 60 feet away, and he saw who actually touched the ball last."
the problem I see is that the first rule in soccer is that the referee has final word on anything.
Hmm.
You can't argue with the referee. If the referee says that the ball was out but it wasn't out, the ball is out.
Yeah.
There's no appeal
Well,
system. There's
it's like baseball umpires, man. It's like and
It's
you
like
have to.
baseball umpires. They have all
Well,
the power.
you
Yes,
have to
sir.
though. You have to though because
Well, but then you don't try and fool them, right? You don't
right.
try and fool the umpire and like make him believe that it was a ball when it was clearly a strike, right?
Well, actually, they did recently implement where they can
They do
challenge,
that.
but then they go to the video and
Right.
but
Yeah, you can challenge. You can challenge. That you have like your few opportunities to challenge. That's an appeal system. Yeah, of course.
it
You
it
don't have that in
is
soccer.
yeah it is funny though because I often I make this joke, but there's a hint of truth to it as a generality of like I'm a fairly stubborn person, um like my wife and I we got turned around in a construction zone and I come up to the and I know I need to turn right to get back home. There's a very clear sign that says no right turn. But I know it's literally the only way I can get home. So
Right.
what do? I turn right. And my wife's like, but it says not turn. I'm like, I know that, but that's the way home and I gotta go there.
Consider the alternative.
Well, but then I also
Consider.
and then afterwards I said, also I'm an American, so I have an issue with authority.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But it
Yeah.
is true to a certain extent, and it's because we live in a society where you can rebel against authority with fairly minimal consequences, generally speaking. The worst thing I'm going to do, the worst
Well,
thing
you
I'm
have
going
to.
to, yeah, well, but
You,
here's the thing. The worst thing that's going to happen to me in that situation is I'm going to get a ticket. That's the
yeah,
absolute worst outcome.
that's it. Monetary sanction.
Yeah.
That's it. That's how you handle everything in life. You want to punish someone, you sanction them monetarily.
Well, but so for example, if you're driving somewhere in like Afghanistan and you turn down the wrong checkpoint, you can get shot.
Yeah, yeah, those aren't very pleasant. But in Mexico, if you make the wrong turn, nothing happens, dude.
Yeah.
Even if the policeman catches you doing like something like jaywalking, like people in Mexico have no concept of what jaywalking is. They don't know it exists. They
Yeah.
don't know that if you don't cross the street on the corner, if you cross the street anywhere else on the block, you're more likely to get run over than if you cross on the corner, right?
Hmm.
So in Mexico, those rules don't exist. We don't even know they exist, and we have no. Well, I mean, yeah, you have consequences. You get run over, but that's it.
Yeah, but it's not like it's coming from authority. It's coming from velocity,
Yeah, it's more like common
potentially,
sense.
potentially. But like, there is kind of a quintessential American tendency to kind of at least rebuff authority. Like you may know you'll
That's
ultimate.
amazing. Dude,
Yeah,
that's great because if you and me, if we go into business, for example, and I'm in charge of the money, and you have nothing to do with the money, you're not even checking the accounts, okay? And then you want to check me. Well, I have no problem with that. That's great. I'll just show you the accounts.
yeah,
Unless I'm doing something shady. If I
exactly.
want to do something shady and I want to take the money, then yeah, you don't get to ask me things. But if I'm being honest and I'm being a good person, I'm being clear about things. I want you to come over and I want you to come over and check me because it
You
it,
would
it serves me
you yeah
well.
you would probably go so far as to be like, hey, here's the monthly statement, just to
Right. It's all
just to
here.
yeah.
You wanna look over it now or later?
Yeah, or here it is whenever you want to. But here,
Yeah.
this is another interesting story, and this will, for those that aren't American, this will kind of give you a small taste. So, where I live, which is a pretty red state, but even then, um, when they did the state COVID shutdowns of certain businesses, which typical government, they say, okay, we're gonna shut down. We're going to shut down businesses and then immediately release a 6-page list of the businesses that don't have to close.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But before I got that 6-page list, I even said, because my business partner at the time, which fuck that guy, he owes me about 10 grand and he's going to pay it too.
Mofo.
But I said at the time, I said, shut down. You can either, what was it? You can either shut down my business and pay me, or you can kiss my ass. And I'm like, and I'll fucking say it to the governor too. I know where the governor's mansion is. And he looked at me and he was like, you will not. I'm like, no, I know where the governor's mansion is.
Are you daring me?
And if I'm not going to be at work, I have zero qualms with standing outside on the sidewalk, because I'm not trespassing if I'm on the sidewalk. I have zero
Right.
problems standing out there with a sign all day that says pay me or fuck off. Because if you're going to force me to close my business and not pay me, then you can suck my dick. 'Cause
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
in
we're
hindsight,
never gonna
however,
be perfect.
we should have closed and I should have taken the unemployment. I would have made a lot more money.
Yeah. Hindsight is 2020, my friend.
And how?
But I mean, we have to stick with the good people in the world,
Yeah.
because there is such a thing as bad people in the world. Even if we don't want to acknowledge it, we don't want to believe it, we think it's rude to say it, but there are bad people in the world.
There are. But it would be through the same values we've been talking about all night. The only way to fight those people is to be good people.
Well, what I would do
Or
is
kill
I
them.
would educate children. I would give them the values that they need to be a good person. What is a good person? Because all of these issues are very debatable, because they're not set in stone.
Yeah.
Like when I say a good person,
There,
what is a good person?
but I would say that the stories and the sort of cultural anecdotes we've been talking about all point to like a general sense of somebody who will self-sacrifice for the good of others.
Yeah, that's one.
Somebody who's generally speaking will be honest.
American check.
Someone.
Because as you know, a republic, what the word republic means is res publica. It means an affair that it's out in the open.
Mm-hmm.
It's public. That's what you guys do. You have all your government, maybe not all of them, right? But you do have government hearings in the open.
To the point where it would not be detrimental for the public to know, because it's not cloak and dagger. It's literally like, no, it probably does serve a better purpose if the entire population doesn't know about the latest jet propulsion technology.
Right. Or the fact that we prop up a new president in Nicaragua, right? We don't want people discussing that.
But is it a net positive
But,
at the end?
So being honest, being good to other people, progressing together, taking things from outside your culture and integrating them into your culture for the betterment of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all American.
Because hey, man, thanks to Mexico, we now have Taco Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to have a hard think about what Mexico means to me, because I wish things were a little bit different here, you know?
Yeah.
I wish we'd get less with the playing dumb, and
yeah. Well, okay, so here's this will be a good closing question. I think I know the answer, but I've never actually heard you talk about it. So why don't you move to the US?
Unfortunately, moving to the US requires money.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reality of it. Because if I want to move to the US and just munch off of the welfare system, they're not gonna have me.
No.
So you need to have a plan to move to America and have a job there, and maybe entrepreneur a bit, and maybe build something there, or like just help people. Because I assure you, if you do that, if your intentions of coming to America are being a better person and serving people and giving back to your community, they will have you. They will have you.
The vast majority. Well, there are some racist assholes, but
Um, what is racism? So when you go to Home Depot and you pick up a couple of Mexicans and bring them back to your home to work on your shed or your garden, and you don't have them over for dinner and you don't talk to them and you don't joke with them, is that racist?
No,
I
I'm
don't like
talking.
I just went and picked them up and they're working on my garden and I'm not being an asshole to them. We don't share the same culture.
No, and
We don't.
that's not what I'm talking about. As I said,
Well,
they're very few and far
nobody's
between.
complaining about them. The people that all the white people that employ all these brown people, they don't want them out of the country. They
Oh
don't
yeah,
have a problem.
that's not who I'm talking about.
Well, like if I were to go to America and I just wanted to play games all day and like collect food stamps, that's not beneficial to the country, is it?
No, you also under the law you couldn't unless you committed an insane amount of fraud.
But yeah, but if I go there and I get a job at some company and I make, I don't know, $100,000 a year and I pay my taxes and I pay my rent,
Oh, you're more than
they'll
welcome.
for sure have me there.
Yeah,
It won't even matter if I'm Mexican or African.
no, nobody cares. No,
I
nobody who
that.
matters cares.
I mean, I was reading the other day that the first person in America that became a millionaire by being an employee, not by being a business owner, was the CEO of Coca-Cola, and he was Cuban.
Yep.
So the guy went to America, he got a job in one of the greatest companies in the history of the world. He got to be CEO. I'm I'm sure he worked hard as fuck
I'm
to get
sure.
there. And then he became a millionaire. And he was Cuban. He wasn't born in America, right?
Nope.
So that's what America means to me. That I think that America strives, uh, even if they have to use force to do it, they strive for the world to be a better place.
Well, and I would still very much make the case that the vast majority of the time, the United States doesn't start the fight, but we'll damn sure finish it.
Of course, that's an American saying
Don't
because it's
touch our
true.
boats.
We didn't start this, but we sure as hell are gonna finish it.
I can't tell you. I mean, it's a cliche because so many of us were, told directly growing up, hey, listen, don't start the fight, but if it comes, you finish it.
Like Tony Stark said in one of the Avengers movies, he said, "My father used to say, smile and carry a big stick."
Yeah. Well, and yeah, that's a Teddy Roosevelt saying too.
Right,
But I mean,
right.
it's true. That's a very American notion that Trump understands quite well, actually.
I don't hate Donald Trump. I don't want him to die like people are screaming about it these days. I know that he only has like 3 years left, right? Because there's no re-election now for him.
Not
I
even
don't know what.
he's in the midterm year, so it'll be over in 2028. That's his last year.
Yeah. Oh, so it's a year from now. So I don't know what his continuation, what the movement's gonna morph into the Republican Party. I don't know what's gonna happen in the future. But if I had to give a message to the American people at large, it would be that one of my dream, one thing that would make me personally, as a Mexican, really really happy, is to watch America united, to watch America really unified with the alternating of power and with the old usage of I don't agree with you, but I love you.
So it's interesting you say that because it's getting eerie. Have you ever heard? There's a book called The Fourth Turning. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
Um, you it's a great book, but long story short, they look at because before I even read this book, and then I'll close because we've been talking for a while. We'll have you on again because we'll touch on a lot of stuff. I've
Thank you,
always
sir.
believed that history was cyclical because I mean it just makes sense to me, and turns
Yeah.
out it is. We're due, at least the United States is due for another high period. like we saw at the end of World War II until 1963. We're due for another period. It should start, according to this book, anytime between 2028 and 2032.
Please do. Please do. It doesn't have to be an arrogant way of doing it.
No,
It
no, no,
doesn't have to.
because the thing is, we're in the middle of the. Okay, so every approximate 100 years is known as a seculum, and just like our year, we have 4 seasons. There's a high, an awakening, an unraveling, and a crisis. We're at the tail end of a crisis right now, so we're getting ready to end that 4th turning and go into another seculum, a 1st turning, which always starts on a high. Because post-crisis, everybody unites and has the same driven mission, and it goes up.
I want to see that.
You should.
I want.
You'd love that book. It's really, really good.
I want all the conservatives to realize that the weirdness that the leftists bring to the world is beautiful.
Can be.
And
Can be.
I want the hysterical leftists to realize that the conservatives only want to live a good life.
Mm-hmm.
They want peace, they want order, and they want to live with their families and have their jobs. I want them to understand that they're not enemies.
Imagine what we can all do if we just take the other side in good faith and be like, listen, I understand you want to express yourself and this is how you feel, but at the same time, let's be mindful of other people. Wouldn't that be a beautiful world?
Just listen to me. Listen to what I have to say. But it's a power struggle. That's the problem. That whoever has more power has final say in the end.
So for now,
that's kind of funny. Yeah, let's just hope technology helps us, like AI helps us overcome these hurdles.
well,
I don't know if they're ever gonna end. I don't know if the human race is ever gonna be capable of letting go of the hate, letting go of the need to have an enemy, because we have that need as humans.
yeah, but
We need to have.
I would say it's never. I don't think it's ever been less pronounced than right now. It certainly still exists, but compared to how it was before,
I mean, we sure are trying. Like, I'll tell you, in Mexico, because we have a woman president that her party is like super progressive and super to the left. They're trying. I mean, we're trying. Like, don't make fun of people. Like, if you wanna go out out to the world dressed as a honeybee, I shouldn't make you feel bad about it. I shouldn't be laughing about it. I shouldn't put you down because of it. You know. I shouldn't discriminate based on anything about your appearance.
yeah, and my whole deal with all that is like, hey, listen, at the end of the day, I don't care. It doesn't affect my life sufficiently for me to care.
Well, it's tricky because
It
it's
depends.
not clear cut.
It depends. Yeah, it
Yeah.
depends. I'm using your honeybee example because here's the thing: if I have a small child with me, and they see
Right.
somebody dressed as a honeybee, they go, "Oh,
Right.
look, a honeybee!" And it's like, yeah, that's cool, isn't it? No big deal. However,
Yeah. Yeah. If you're dressed as a scary monster, if you're walking around with like a severed head in your hand because that's what you like, yeah, I might have an issue with that. I don't want my
Yeah.
kid to be traumatized.
well, that's
No?
what I'm saying. It's like there is a line there. So
Yeah.
we can be expressive, but let's keep in mind what's the old expression? Your right to swing your fist around stops when it hits my face.
Of course. Yeah, let's make a plan. Let's make the schematics about how it's going to work. Let's use our American intellect. That's what I would like to see. That's my dream. I love America. I'm never gonna change. I'm not even saying it to pander to anyone. I'm not even saying it to be contrarian. I
It's
really
coming.
do love America. I think about things like Back to the Future. Bro, I love that movie, dude.
So good.
And I know that it's never gonna be able to be made. It's not gonna be made anywhere else in the world but in America
It couldn't.
because of all the factors that came together for America to
Yeah.
exist.
Yeah. It
And
couldn't.
I'm always gonna love that.
That's a fantastic note to end on. Alexander, thanks for coming on. Hopefully, if you're watching this, your perspective's changed a little bit, especially if you feel like you're a little bit more anti-America. I will simply point out, what other place in the world can you talk shit about the place you live and you're protected to do so?
Yes, sir.
Food for thought.
Good old US of A.
Just food for thought. And thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and hit us up on the Pro Wrestling Podcast, and come see us at In Conjunction for the Final Frontier if you're in the greater Indianapolis area, July 10th through 12th. We're gonna have a raffle which includes a autographed photo signed by both William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy, authenticated.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and the raffle, you can buy tickets, but there are several ways to enter for free, so you could get that completely free of charge, among other stuff. So come check that out. And we will see you guys on the next episode of the Arete Podcast.